is your dog.
Advent. Sleep better. Sleep together. Learn how you can improve your life at adventknows.com.
The Fan cares, and if you or someone you care about needs food assistance, we have resources for you, including food distribution locations with an interactive map. Also, learn how you can make a difference for friends and neighbors in need, all at 1075thefan.com.
Heat and cool your man cave, attic, garage, or bonus room without adding ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits.
To find out more, just go to absolutecomfort.org.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BP, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
A little light dusting on the ground here on this Tuesday morning. Speaking of on the ground, the Hoosiers are on the ground in Pasadena. We are 2 days away from the 137th Rose Bowl. And if Mother Nature is rearing her ugly head, I think I saw yesterday, this would be the second Rose Bowl with rain since 1955. I don't know if that's a good omen or not.
I was going to say, I don't know how I feel about that.
But I feel like it favors IU. We'll get more into that. Scott Docterman from The Athletic is going to join us coming up at 8:30. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Caleb Zuver with you. James, how long does the Jacksonville game down there seem to you? When you think back to that Jacksonville game, whatever that was, 3.5 weeks ago, how long does that seem to you? Does that seem like a while?
About 3.5 months, honestly. There's been so much craziness that's happened this season. I had to be reminded, it was from you or someone else, that they had a cornerback retire midseason. And that's like
which was a good thing.
15th. I know. It's like the 15th thing on the list of important things that happened this year, if it's even important at this point.
So you go back to the Monday after that game. That is the last time we've talked about a Colts or Pacers victory on these airwaves.
Was that the same week you asked Rick Carlisle about getting to 1,000 wins, and he's still not there?
Believe the Tuesday after. It might have been that following week. I guess it would have been that day after. Yes, asked Rick Carlisle about getting to number 999.
And you jinxed him.
And now we sit here on December 30th. We have yet to talk about a Pacers win since, and of course we have yet to talk about a Colts win. We need a slump buster, boys. New Year's Eve and slump busters are probably not two things that should go together, because that could really, you don't want to start 2026 necessarily waking up next to that, but boy, do we need it. We need it bad. 9 straight losses for the Pacers. That is a season long. They will play tomorrow. That will be New Year's Eve afternoon against the Orlando Magic. Rick Carlisle will join us coming up tomorrow, and of course the Colts are in the midst of a 6-game losing streak.
That's when you have to turn to IU, Caleb.
Yeah, that's all we got at this point. I mean, that is
all we got. All we got's a rainy Rose Bowl, right?
That is depressing.
I'm sorry. If you want uplifting, we could talk Marcus Freeman. I don't know if anybody wants me leading off with Marcus Freeman at 7:01.
Man, I walk in here and you just ruined the mood.
Hey, we got to speak a dose of reality here. Shout out to Purdue last night. Very impressive up there in West Lafayette as they got back to action. Butler at Creighton tonight. You can hear that on our airways. Butler will actually have several quad one opportunities here. They're on the right side of the bubble, I would say, to restart, I should say, conference play. They've got some great chances here to continue to pad that resume. And a lot to get to. I thought the last Monday night game of the year was terrific. I didn't have high expectations for Rams and Falcons last night, but that was a good watch.
Oh, yeah. I read a tweet last night that said, because I think the Falcons might be like 4-1 in primetime games this year or something like that. And the gist of it was there's
the one loss Germany?
I believe so.
Look at that.
That counts as primetime. But also there was the gist of the tweet was there's some really casual fan out there. I think the Falcons are like great because they look the part, at least in those moments. So shout out to Bijan Robinson, man. That's a special player.
Dude, that game had some of the best individual plays I've seen this season. The Bijan Robinson run is one. The Jared Verse block field goal
And the
was
return?
just, it gave me some Myles Garrett vibes inside of Lucas Oil Stadium a few years ago. And throughout the game, Stafford will always make like 3 to 4 throws where I'm just like, damn. Can they show that like 3 more times on replay? Like
I get that, but did he lose the MVP last night?
Yeah, which that is kind of the weird, funny thing about it. Yes, he also had 3 interceptions in the game, and I believe the betting favorite right now is Drake May as we wake up here on this Tuesday morning.
Drake May in his second season MVP? Boy, I know Colts fans don't want to hear about that. New England gets another quarterback that looks the part.
Yeah, it is crazy. So it was a wild one last night for those that did not stay up for it. It was the Falcons, 51-yard field goal from Zane Gonzalez late in that game. They beat the Rams there on Monday Night Football, and we await official word on who will start for the Colts coming up Week 18 in Houston. James Boyd, we heard from Shane Steichen yesterday. Did your thought on the Week 18 starter change at all?
My personal thought did not. I still think it should be Riley Leonard because you're out of playoff contention, and unlike last week, you know that a week in advance. But what did you think of his response to just the question itself? He said he has to talk to Phil, and he came here to play, and obviously there's one more left, and it sounded a little sentimental. And I'm like, wait a second, Shane. Don't let the personal feel-good vibes get in the way here. This road is over. His last start should be last Sunday. That's it.
Boy, you and I are on the same wavelength. I
left that Zoom thinking like, wait a second.
I heard the door open.
Oh, Lord.
And I didn't think the door would be open. I'm not a massive Rocky movie watcher, but the general gist, I've watched a couple of them. The general gist is the further along we get with the Rockies, right, the worse the movies become. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think people say Rocky 5 never existed. I don't know.
I would agree with that. Shout out to Caleb. Yes, I would never think that existed.
Do we need to see Rocky 4 with Phillip Rivers or Rocky 5 with Phillip Rivers?
No.
We don't. Right? We don't.
Does Riley Leonard need to request a trade? I just
Caleb from the top rope.
Maybe it was Shane going extra, to try to be, I don't know, publicly supportive of Phil. I'm really stretching, to be honest with you. I don't believe what I'm saying out loud. I didn't really understand it. And then and we'll play the audio upcoming, but it sounded almost like more of a Phillip Rivers decision, James, than
he said, I need to talk to
dude,
Phil.
You're the head coach.
Yeah, he's like, let me talk to Phil. I'm like, can you talk to Riley too?
God bless the 44. I love Phillip Rivers. If Max Bowen has an ounce of Phillip Rivers in him, then dadgummit, that'll be awesome. But we don't need to see that anymore. I just play Riley Leonard, get him his first NFL start. It'll probably be a disaster. Who cares? If you need Riley Leonard in September next year, at least he's gotten his feet wet.
Well, he's probably thinking he got his feet wet in week 14. Filling in for Daniel Jones, extended minutes.
But that door, it just...
Oof. Oh, I agree with you, brother. You ain't got to convince
Anthony
me.
Richardson door does not appear to be open at all. Doesn't really sound like anything is happening there. We'll see about Sauce Gardner. I think Shane did stress he really needs to be feeling well in order to play Week 18. That's one where I don't know if we need to see that here, considering how the injury situations have gone across the state of Indiana, but that could just be PTSD for me. And we'll get to...
No, you're right. That makes zero sense. He should not play. They should shut him down. That should have been made. That decision should have been made when he walked off the field Sunday.
What makes more sense, playing Phillip Rivers or Sauce Gardner?
Oh, boy. Phillip, because it doesn't matter what happens to him.
I'm seeing this in the YouTube chat. Let Uncle Phil pass Big Ben. Do we really care about the all-time passing yard stats here? You could need a quarterback in September of next. If you want to be the internal optimist about next year, okay? Let's say Daniel Jones gives you whatever. If you could sign up right now for Daniel Jones giving you 12 straight games of good football next season to end the year, wouldn't you sign up in a heartbeat?
Yeah, for sure.
Considering he's coming off a torn Achilles.
Yeah,
okay?
for sure.
Let's say he goes 8-4 in those 12 games. That means you've got 5 other games to try and somehow, some way, keep the ship afloat. And if you need to go, 3-2, 2-3 in those 5 games, look at this season. That could be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs.
This is why this sport is different than all the others, Kevin. Small sample size, right? So any chance you can get to get reps. What did we hear for the last 3 years about Anthony Richardson? It's all about reps.
Particularly at quarterback.
It's so vital.
Right.
So you'd be missing an opportunity if you didn't start Riley Leonard this week.
And again, I think Riley needs some game reps. When you talk specifically about him and his growth, it's okay, can he become a pocket passer in the NFL? There's some traits, and I think he showed in the Jacksonville game that you like, but a lot of those traits are kind of backyard football. Backyard football is only going to get you so far. So we'll await official word on that. I could be overreacting to what Shane Steichen said yesterday, but I would definitely go with Riley Leonard. They did sign a quarterback yesterday to the practice squad. We'll get to the bio on old Seth here coming up in a bit. I did another one of these fan polls. I did one last year too. What do the Colts want to do here at the end of the season? This would be Colts fans. What do they want to do? A pretty overwhelming consensus in what it's looking like, near about 4,000 votes. We'll share those results later. No changes. Fire Ballard and Steichen. Fire just Ballard or fire Steichen here. We'll give those thoughts. And I do want to go back, James, at some point today to Carly Orsay Gordon's, I guess, opening press conference, if you will, back in May. And, again, her answer, I think we've hinted at it, definitely on yesterday's show. But did she tell us in May what she's going to tell us next week if she talks to the media? In that injuries can and will be used as a valid excuse.
Well, here's another thing from that perspective, Kevin, and I look at it like this. You have to probably say something whether you make a change or you don't. And I don't think that's always the case for owners, and I'm not saying she will, but if they run this back, I think they do owe it to the fan base to explain why in detail. Just my thoughts.
And would injuries just be enough, or do you need more?
I think you need more than that to explain why Chris Ballard in particular has been brought back.
A lot of hoops to go over from last night. Again, Indiana on the ground out there in Pasadena. I believe there's an open practice today. And, of course, tomorrow we'll get things started with Miami and Ohio State. And then it is Thursday at 4 o'clock, New Year's Day for the Hoosiers. A touchdown favorite. It's funny, you look at some of the computers, not Vegas, some of the computers, they actually like Indiana even more in this game. I think the Vegas line is a little bit more of the helmet creeping into play here. But if you look at some of the computers, they actually like Indiana even more than just the touchdown favorite, as we are about a little over 48 hours away from the Rose Bowl here for Curt Signetti's bunch. Again, light dusting on the ground, nothing that impacted my commute here on this Tuesday morning. Safe travels to everybody out there. Thank you for starting this Tuesday with us. It's the Fan Morning Show.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your destination for nonstop entertainment. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 21+.
Bowling, bowling, bowling. Keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Ring in the new year at Royal Pin Entertainment's annual New Year's Eve celebration. Countdown to 2026 with a celebration the whole family will love. Get to Royal Pin from 9 p.m. to midnight on December 31st for 3 hours of fun and family-friendly excitement, including cosmic bowling, a complimentary appetizer board, a midnight toast, and a whole lot more. Each lane fits up to 6 guests. There's plenty of celebration to go around. So bring your friends, bring your family, and roll into 2026 with a bang. Spots fill up fast. Reserve your lane now at royalpin.com.
Set them up, knock them down, send them flying, spinning round.
Royal Pin Entertainment, where fun rolls into the new year.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Dan
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
It's JMV for BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. All you can eat, all you can drink. Before each Colts home game, make your game day experience the best it can be. Entertained inside the Bullseye Event Center and the great food from celebrity chef Kelsey Murphy. That and more, and combo up your passes with tickets to the game. That's the BullseyeEventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Get your passes now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey. Honey! What? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Got any gadgets? Get online protection. NordVPN has a ho-ho holiday deal just for you. Get up to 77% off plus 3 extra months. According to PC Mag, this VPN service is rated as outstanding. A single NordVPN account secures up to 10 devices. You can share online protection with your loved ones. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro feature helps you block malware, avoid phishing, and stop annoying digital trackers. NordVPN scans the dark web and checks if your sensitive credentials haven't gotten into the wrong hands. This cybersecurity tool also encrypts your browsing. You can enjoy the internet with more peace of mind. Just a few taps and you're safer online. Let your gadgets sparkle with online security. Go to NordVPN.com and get up to 77% off plus 3 extra months. NordVPN.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ETHOS.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
All right, let's talk some hoops. Last night in Houston, it took about 90 seconds into the game for Rick Carlisle subbed out Jay Huff. It was a night where rebounding was an issue, and that was quite clear from the onset. The Rockets, the final score won't tell you the full story. They absolutely dominated the Pacers. James, the Pacers, really their backups, Cam Jones and a bunch of two-way guys, outscored Houston by 20 in the fourth quarter, yet the Pacers still lost by 7. That is now 9 straight losses. They are 1-15 on the road. But the only positive I can find is Aaron Nesmith looks to be pretty healthy in his first couple games back.
Yeah, it was actually good to see him hit some threes off the movement, and he hadn't really shot it well this season. So if you're looking for anything as far as silver lining, that's all I got for you. Besides that, Kevin Durant seems to always get buckets, man. And as much as you talk about LeBron being old, that guy is old and still doing it.
30 for Kevin Durant last night. By the way, happy 41st to LeBron. Happy 50th to Tiger Woods. Can you imagine if your birthday fell on December 30th?
I believe the great Greg Rakestraw's birthday is today.
Really?
Yes, we were talking about this last week.
We were talking about
Caleb.
this, yep.
Yeah, so shout out to
I
Rake.
mean,
the
screw
GOAT.
that. Let me push LeBron and Tiger to the back of the sentence and get Greg Rakestraw to the front of the
And
sentence.
for old timers' sake, Sandy Koufax, December 30th.
That is
birthday.
quite the
Mount
birthday.
Rushmore.
I'm not gonna lie.
Rakestraw, LeBron, Tiger, Koufax. How about that?
There you go.
Right there on your Tuesday morning. Up in West Lafayette last night, it was Purdue all over Kent State. It was actually a Kent State team that was 10-2 on the year. Purdue has now held four straight opponents to 60 points or fewer, 101-60 as they close out the non-conference. Jack Benter, the former Brownstown Central star, I think he's 11th all-time. The state's career scoring mark for the high school ranks 10 straight three-pointers he has now hit. That is a school record. Last night, he was reining him in. So Matt Painter has liked the depth of this team. That is something he's talked about for a while now. Jack Benter certainly a part of that. So Purdue all over Kent State last night. They'll get back into conference play with a trip up to the Kohl Center coming up here on Saturday night. Again, Butler back in action tonight. They've got Creighton. This is not the same old Creighton that I think we are used to, but still, Butler as a 4.5-point underdog tonight. They will get, and I don't think it's too early when you're a team that has Butler's resume so far, they're going to get a quad one chance tonight. They get one with Villanova coming up on Saturday at Hinkle, and they get one a week from tonight at Hinkle with Rick Pitino in St. John. So the Big East doesn't offer a ton of these. The fact that you get 3 in 7 days, it is a huge week for the Butler Bulldogs there as they will play tonight. It's a late one. It's 9 o'clock on FS1. And shout out to Matthew Graves, back officially in the full capacity on the sidelines last night for Indiana State. They beat Belmont in overtime. So nice work from the Sycamores, and great to see Matthew Graves back.
I'll say quite a few wins for him personally and professionally.
On the sidelines, yes. Amen to that. Monday Night Football last night, James Boyd does a hell of a game. What stood out to you the most?
Bijan Robinson, he is a special player, and really Atlanta should probably be a playoff team considering some of the wins they've had this year. So is that enough for Raheem Morris to stick around in Atlanta? But beyond that, Kevin, on the flip side, I thought that the Rams had to score about 10 times to only have the points that they had because they kept having penalties, or on that last play, just a very close call.
So 27-24 the final. Atlanta hits a 51-yard field goal with about 20 seconds left. That was the eventual game winner. The Rams were down 24-3, came back in this game. Stafford threw 3 picks. I'll be curious how that impacts his MVP status here. Jared Verse had one of the more impressive blocked field goals you'll see. Really kept the Rams into it. I was struck by watching last night. We're about to get, a week from now, road wild card teams like the Rams, like San Francisco or Seattle, like Josh Allen in Buffalo, Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I mean, we're going to have, I would argue, we might have more road favorites than home favorites when we get to wild card weekend next week.
That's the weirdness of the NFL, and probably why I love it, honestly. Because I get the people that are like, well, why should they have to go on the road against a team that win your division? I feel like that's my big old man take this morning. I don't want that to change.
I'm with you, James. I thought last year that discussion got really kind of heightened with the whole like Lions-Vikings type thing. But then we saw the Vikings have to play a game at a neutral site in the wild card round against the Rams in Arizona, because of wildfires and they couldn't hold up. So I think there's a lot of teams that can win this thing. It's going to be fun.
Speaking of neutral sites, out in Pasadena coming up 4 o'clock on Thursday. Indiana landed late last night out there. They'll have a practice today, and of course things will ramp up pretty quickly for the Hoosiers and the Crimson Tide. Again, about a touchdown favorite, Scott Docterman from The Athletic, who wrote, I thought, a really good piece on Kurt Signetti and exactly what he has built down there. Probably more of a national point of view more than anything. But he'll join us coming up at 8:30. And James, you said he's boots on the ground out there?
Yeah, I texted him yesterday and I said, hey, if you are out west in Pasadena, say no. And he was like, no, I'll be up. Body clock hasn't really changed too much, and I got to get moving for media availability and stuff like that anyway. And so
he knows he doesn't get paid for this, correct?
Yes, I followed up and I said, are you sure? I don't want to do this to you. And secretly, I was thinking, I will do this to you if you agree. And he did agree. So it wasn't like I, twisted his arm. And to be quite frank with you, I don't even know him all that well. We just work together at The Athletic. I read his stuff. He reads mine. But beyond that, as you can see, listeners, he's a great dude.
That might be the earliest we've ever had a guest. 5:30 local time? Like, we've had some West Coasters join us maybe at 9:30 our time or 9:45 our time. But 5:30, boots on the ground?
I mean, to be honest with you,
and he ain't family?
The only reason I do it is because we work for the station and I'm getting up for a flight. But to just be chilling and thinking I'll be up at 5 anyway, it's kind of crazy. But shout out to Scott Docterman, man. He's wired different. He's built different. Got that dog in him.
Man, he is different than me, that's to say the least. 8:30 for him, 9 o'clock, Joel A. Erickson on the other side. The Colts did sign a quarterback yesterday. We'll meet him and exactly what does things look like from a big picture standpoint. We'll dial it back a little bit to Carly Orsay Gordon, some audio she had back in the spring. Anything to read into that as we await what could happen here coming up next week. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Caleb Zuver on a Tuesday morning. Is that a run it back shirt from Caleb Zuver there? Is he supporting the old run it back for the Colts?
Oh, boy.
Ball State women's basketball, everybody.
You're trying to get Caleb stoned here in Indianapolis.
Boy, I don't know how many...
The blue take yesterday might already have me on that watch, James. Everybody's not happy with what I said at the end of the show yesterday.
Not sure Caleb could give away those shirts, frankly, outside of Lucas Oil Stadium. But we'll chat about it next. 93.5 on 107.5 The Fan.
Welcome to Wawa. We're open 24/7, so when the sun goes down but everyone's still up, Wawa has your late night fuel. Headed to a hangout? Stop in for snacks and sodas. Binge your favorite shows with burgers and hoagies. Gather around the table with garlic knots and a cheesy Wawa pizza. Or just chill on the couch with fries and whatever milkshake sounds good. Your night just got a whole lot tastier. Freshly made burgers, pizza, and so much more. When you got a late night craving, you got a Wawa. Price and participation may vary by store.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hey there, Jake Query for Surfside. Look for the can with the sunset stripes. This time of year, in particular, when you're needing sunshine, no problem. Sunshine in the can is Surfside. I'm talking about iced tea and vodka, lemonade and vodka. New flavors coming for the new year, but for now, the raspberry tea, the green tea, and the lemonade itself with that little splash of vodka is so awesome. And with no carbonation, oh so smooth, so easy to drink, and just 100 calories and 2 grams of sugar. Surfside, look for it wherever you buy your favorite adult beverage, and please be 21 and drink responsibly.
We Grow Hair Indy. They are the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration. Northwest side, that would be the Pyramids building number 2. Someone sent me the other day kind of a questionnaire about things that concern people, and near the top of the list was hair loss, especially in this state. And we just benefit from having the best in the business that happens to call the 317 home. Again, they offer free evaluation, private evaluation, virtual evaluation. So at the very least, you owe it to yourself to get some answers to the questions that you have. Again, that is wegrowhairindy.com. And up on the northwest side, up at the Pyramids, building number 2. I think when you go on their website, you'll see before and after pictures, the variety of styles that they offer you. It's not some, cookie cutter, hey, we do one thing that is just for, this is what we do, and no matter what your situation is, we're going to do it. No, they're going to cater something around you. So again, that's We Grow Hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. Your old windows, they're not keeping in the heat in the winter. They keep letting the heat in during the summer. And they're certainly keeping your energy bill way higher than it needs to be. You need the pros at Window Nation with installation precision and experience that are second to none. They'll also be in and out of your house faster than any other service. Their custom-made windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit in your home. And they back it up with the best warranty in the industry. It's why they've maintained an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So stay cozy in winter, chill in the summer, and save money year-round. Get a great deal on replacement windows from Window Nation today. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION.
The Butler basketball season is rolling along. Don't miss your chance to get in on the action. Your next chance to get to Hinkle Fieldhouse to cheer on your Butler Bulldogs is Saturday, January 3rd at noon when the Dogs take on the Villanova Wildcats. Come see the sunlight shine through the windows at iconic Hinkle Fieldhouse. With most students home for break, there are some great unique seating options available, so buy your tickets now at butlersports.com/buy tickets. Be a part of Hinkle Magic and make Hinkle your second home this season.
Imagine if today was the day your idea changed someone's life. With GoFundMe, it's all possible. Help someone pay for college, help your community build a new playground, or help a child make it to that dream competition. GoFundMe is the world's #1 fundraising platform trusted by over 200 million people. Don't wait for someone else to bring change. Start your fundraiser today at gofundme.com/radio. That's gofundme.com/RADIO. This is a commercial message sponsored by GoFundMe.
With Wawa's rewards program, you can rack up points on the items you buy every day, even fuel. Boost your totals with a breakfast sizzly. Score points with your morning coffee. With Wawa rewards, points put the power in your hands. You can choose to redeem them for what you love most, like an iced latte for an extra pick-me-up, or your lunchtime hoagie. Download the Wawa app today. When you gotta get rewarded, you gotta Wawa. Fuel rewards not available in New Jersey or were legally prohibited. See full details at wawarewards.com. Price and participation may vary by store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone,
Welcome to AutoZone.
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets the Duralast battery.
Have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you could hear Old Spice Fiji Antiperspirant, what would it sound like? First, you'd start with Fiji Antiperspirant's amazing scent of palm trees. Add pure notes of fresh coconut and layer on 24/7 odor and sweat protection. You won't hear any dyes or parabens because with Fiji, you won't have any. So while your regular antiperspirant sounds like this, Old Spice Fiji sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
We should be dancing, romancing in the east wing and the west wing of this mansion. What's happening? I ain't playing no games. Every word that I say is coming straight from the heart. So if you're trying to lay in these arms, I'ma leave the door.
Would you guys rather be out in the elements of a sporting event in freezing cold or warm rain?
Warm rain.
This is a tough one, man.
Not for me. I don't do cold, man.
I think I'd probably do the warm rain, but it also depends. Like if it's think about that Chiefs Dolphins playoff game a couple years ago, where it's freezing cold. I'm going. I'm sorry. I'm going to that.
No, you're out of your mind.
I'm there. If it's a playoff game, I'm there.
Yeah, I'm probably, I don't know.
People lost limbs going to that game.
Caleb sounded a little wishy-washy there on that answer. I'm in the minority then, I guess, but I'd rather just throw on the layers.
Well, how cold we talking? Because if he's talking that kind of cold, I'm never doing that.
Okay,
That is like deathly cold.
I bet there
No
are
offense,
a
Caleb. I mean, I like having my fingers.
Hey, man.
People lost fingers.
I bet there's a decent amount of Indiana football fans that were in South Bend last year for the opening round playoff game where it was whatever it was, single digits, or I forget what exactly it was at kickoff. And so you layered it up. Now, precipitation-wise, a couple flurries, but it's not like you had anything coming down on you during the game. And now on Thursday, if you believe the forecast, we could be looking at a 60-degree day out in California, but steady rain. I would rather layer it up, maybe throw in the liquid blanket versus the steady rain coming down.
Maybe that's changing my opinion there because I don't drink, but yeah, I'm sticking with anything above freezing. I have to roll with that.
Man.
But also, I feel like I'm not like a
It's
true
little
college
soft by
sports
you
fan.
from a Midwest standpoint there.
People always say that I want a soft life. I don't want a hard life. Everyone always tells me that you're soft. Yes, I know. That is the ideal point of living. I don't want it to be hard. I don't want strife in my life, and that is what cold weather brings me.
Maybe good omen. Colts reign in the Super Bowl, and we'll see Indiana boots on the ground out there in Pasadena. And
Someone
we'll
said
see.
James is not trying to be out there in the cold with the shirt off and the body paint. Absolutely not. And again, I think it's because I don't wear the liquor jacket. I think I would have to break my own, sobriety, if that's the word I want to use here, to do that.
We'll get a little bit of lay of the land out there in Pasadena coming up in less than an hour. Scott Dochterman from The Athletic will join us. Seth Hannigan, am I saying that right? Hannigan?
I think you got it.
I was going to say I'll have to ask him later this week how to say his name.
The Colts signed a quarterback yesterday to their practice squad, so they are now back with 4 QBs in the building here for Week 18. For those unfamiliar with Seth, we have actually talked about him before on the show. He was the other quarterback they worked out some, whatever it was now, 4 weeks ago when they signed Phillip Rivers. Undrafted free agent out of Memphis, spent time with Jacksonville this offseason. So just to update everybody on where the Colts are at quarterback-wise for Week 18, Phillip Rivers remains on the 53-man roster, as does Riley Leonard. They've now got Seth on the practice squad. Anthony Richardson technically is still on injured reserve. He has practiced here the last 2 weeks. The vibe you got yesterday from Shane Steichen with Anthony Richardson in Week 18 being a possibility was what?
That it probably is not a possibility. And I wonder, Kevin, if the move to sign Seth Hannigan was in response to that. Because in theory, you probably don't have to make a move at quarterback if you think Anthony's going to be available in any capacity for the season finale.
Yeah, and just to reiterate where things have been on Richardson for me for the last several weeks, I think the vision impairment is really, really real. And I hate to bring up this moment for Richardson, but it is somewhat recent reality. The last time we saw him in a game was, I believe, the preseason, right? He's yet to take a snap.
He got in for he got in.
Was it Raider game?
I believe it might have been the Raiders game or the game before that.
Him and AD Mitchell had that.
Yeah, because he's got like 2 pass attempts this year. Remember, he had the one completion to himself.
Oh yeah. Gosh, that was so fitting for him. I go back to the preseason and that play in Baltimore, the missed blown assignment pre-snap.
Talk about something that feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah,
and he gets blown up. And now if you're going to throw a vision element into that, and I say this in all seriousness, not, to poke fun by any means, but like if all of a sudden you're now adding that to it, can you imagine you throw him out there in a game and for whatever reason, the vision is impacting how well he's seeing it, and now he takes another hit and suffers a different injury? Yeah. So
that's a possibility. I'm glad you didn't gloss over the fact that the other element of this is he has been injury prone in his career.
Like he's wearing a red jersey in practice is what I'm getting at. It's different than when Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter are coming at you, coming up Sunday at 1 o'clock.
For sure.
And it sounds like Houston still will play their guys. I know they're a little banged up, but now they need Tennessee to beat Jacksonville in order to have a chance to win the AFC South. But it does sound like, who knows? Maybe as the game moves along, if Jacksonville builds a big lead, maybe they change some stuff. But I know we saw, I believe Jim Harbaugh said yesterday, like they're going to rest Justin Herbert without really needing to play for anything. But it sounds like Houston, a little bit of a long shot, but they will still play some guys. Let's go back to this audio here in the spring, Caleb, if you don't mind, from Carly Orsay Gordon. And you're going to hear Mike Chappell ask a couple of questions here. But, more or less, James, it was about the evaluation on Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard And, if you could put a label on playoffs or bust necessarily to this season, and as, Carly is asked the follow-up from Chap, she does eventually get to the injury element to it. Again, we haven't heard her talk unless I'm missing something, this is the only press conference she has had, right?
Yes, only formal sit-down press conference.
Okay.
She's spoken here and there in other places, but yes.
Okay, so this is back in May. Carly Orsay Gordon.
Just curious with the fact, this isn't new. You guys have been involved, maybe more so the last couple of years. I don't know. But are you confident in the direction the team's taken is in with Chris and with the coach? And what you're comfortable with where this team is and where it's going?
Mike, we are very confident. Having said that, I think, as my dad said before he passed, Chris and Shane know that they have things they need to fix. And, we talked about not micromanaging people, but also we have a standard here and it hasn't been good enough. And, winning is great, but I would even take it a step further in saying, we're really committed to being the best. And if we're the best, we will win games. And I think Chris and Shane are totally capable of doing that, and we're confident that they can.
So it's not a playoffs or else, it's just reinforce everything that's in place. It's hard to put an objective.
Do you have a crystal ball with you? Because yes, of course, things happen, and some of it is we all have to look at all these factors. If we had all these injuries decimate our team, we don't. Knock on wood on that. But I'm just saying there's so many different directions. That's part of why it's so fun and scary to work in sports sometimes.
You read anything into that, James?
I think from the perspective of not having the crystal ball, she allowed herself to at least have some flexibility, because we all know, had she said playoffs or else, then we would have all been writing, well, she said this and she's got to stick to it. And, I understand having some nuance there and being smart about what she said in that moment, but man, boy, so much has changed from where they were at 8-2 to where they are now at 8-8. And I just wonder, again, to your point, Kevin, from throughout the last few weeks, do you evaluate this for Chris Ballard in particular as a 1-year thing or a 9-year thing?
Yeah, that's
and how much do you? And I'm not saying it's one or the other, but I do think there's a balance there. And what does that balance? What do the scales look like? Is it 70-30? Is it 80-20? What is it?
Yeah, that's the biggest question I think for me right now. Are we talking a 9-year evaluation or a 1-year evaluation? To me, I don't think all of a sudden you just gloss over the first 8 years.
You certainly can't. I think that would be franchise malpractice.
But there is part of me that thinks that could be at play here. Again, that's not my opinion. That's just what I'm inferring a little bit here. But, should the slate have been just wiped clean with Carly Orsay Gordon now stepping into things? And by the way, that was a June press conference, James. Correct me in the break there. So that was right at the end of OTAs, I guess, the offseason program leading into to the summer break. So to me, the 9-year element is much more of an evaluation period than and hell, some people could say, hey, whatever, the 1 year, there are some reasons there, good and bad, that you could look at it through a crystal ball. I posted a fan poll yesterday, just asking simply, fans, what do you want? There are 4 choices to it. A was no changes. B was you fire both. C was you fire Ballard. D was you fire Steichen. The results, it's nearing about 4,000 votes here, James. You got 9% of people saying they want nothing done. You're at 31.5% say fire both. The number is nearly 60% say fire just Ballard. And then you have less than 1% that says fire just Steichen. For what it's worth, it's the same poll I did this time last year. The nothing has grown a little bit. It was 5% last year. It's up to 9% this year. The fire both has come down a bit, about 10%. The firing Ballard has increased by 6%.
I think that's very representative, Kevin, of how a lot of this fan base has grown to feel over the last year. Like, I just, not even talking about what we all think, but I think just looking out, and you guys are writing stories every day about this stuff and getting a lot of reaction from people, it does certainly feel like the fan base is done with the general manager, right? Like, that has just, I think, been the overwhelming common opinion, and that this season has really kind of shown, is that the fan base feels really checked out on the front office.
I would agree there. Sometimes I think, man, am I too online?
Right.
And is it just a loud minority? But no, I do believe there is the majority of the fan base that would wish to see Chris Ballard gone. The way I look at it when it comes to the evaluation process of this team is, again, how much do you weigh the injuries that happened this year? And also, the crazy part about this conversation, Caleb and Kevin, is that this percentage rise for Ballard being ousted is after he finally did all the other stuff that he hadn't done previously.
So true.
Which is, I mean, and again, I'm not sitting here saying the guy should be brought back, but boy, he did go after it in a way we haven't seen. I mean, I can get into the roster construction, and yes, the defensive line, front seven, didn't love it. Still a big weakness, probably one of his biggest flaws in building this team, but
So does
aggressive in free
attempting
agency.
it mean you bring him back?
It is tempting. I think for them.
No. It is the fact that he attempted
to
change his ways
I don't
enough
know.
for you to
Like,
say.
How do you kind of rate that, Kevin? Because I do think that is another evaluation point for the front office, not just him. I mean, for ownership when evaluating him, because he did get aggressive in free agency.
Right.
He did make the big trade. He did invest in the secondary in ways we haven't seen. So, I mean, I don't know what else he could have done, but also this is not 1 year, as you said, and it's not a lot to fall back on otherwise.
Yeah, I think it was important to change his ways. It's probably met. My first thought when I think of that, James, is why did it take that long? And again, this gets into is it a 9-year evaluation or a 1-year evaluation? And so now I sit here and say to myself, okay, because he tried and did do things differently, does that mean that the leash just gets longer? Like, you don't necessarily look at the results. You just say, oh, well, you tried to do some things differently, so here you go. Max Bowen, you tried to eat a vegetable last night, so you get treats for the next month.
What's that Simpsons meme? Is it Bart the kid or that gets the cake that says at least you tried or whatever?
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
boy, that cake would have been very popular around these parts the last few years.
So that's where I'm a little torn on it. And like, again, the injury excuse, I find it difficult to just say these injuries are snap your fingers and everything's fine next year. We're talking about a torn Achilles. We're talking about DeForest Buckner about to turn, what, 32? 31?
I think. About to be 32 probably, yeah.
And he just had neck surgery. We're talking about Javarius Ward, who has already pondered retirement with 3 concussions in a, 7-week span, 8-week span here? Like, these are not Jonathan Taylor at the age of 23 with a high ankle sprain needing to rest in the offseason. These, to me, are not just your run-of-the-mill injuries. And, again, as much as we sit here and say that in our market, hey, bad luck with injuries. Next year will be better. What's Kansas City saying with Patrick Mahomes? What's Cincinnati saying with Burrow? What's Baltimore saying with Lamar Jackson? So I just struggle to sit here and say, injuries.
So I do have a question on that front. What is the biggest reason they collapsed? Is it injuries? Is it something else? Is it a deeper, I don't know, psychological edge that they lack?
I think with all these things, it can divide the pie. Injuries are certainly a chunk of it.
Are they the biggest chunk? I've struggled with this question myself because I tend to lean towards that because I do think had they been healthy that they get one more win. I mean, we're not asking for a lot here.
I think schedule might be as big as injuries when you look at it. I mean, the difference in the schedule from the first half to the second half, I think is going to be overwhelming. I don't know if metrically it's going to play out that way, but who's the last non-playoff team they faced?
Atlanta, probably.
Kansas City?
Kansas City.
So think about that. You're going to end the year with 6 straight playoff teams?
Yeah.
And at the start of the season, you probably faced what? When you started 8-2, you probably faced how many of those 8 wins are against teams that are going to draft in the top 12?
Can I ask this?
I mean, all of them but what? Denver?
Yeah.
And the Chargers? So I would point to schedule. And then if I could go one more piece of the pie, I do think there's an element of the DNA of this is now another collapse with this kind of core. And when you look at the captains on this football team, James, you look at the guys you've put on the side of Lucas Oil Stadium, it's pretty much been the same song and dance for the last, I would argue, probably handful of years. And so the fact that it's a new head coach from the 2021 collapse, and yet here you are again, that to me is a little bit of just kind of the roster DNA. And a lot of that, honestly, you could point to Chris Ballard's words from last January. I mean, how many times in that press conference did he talk about we've got to find a way to win those end of the season games? Some way, somehow. And I get it. You're in a dire quarterback situation. We have seen teams this year win going deep on the quarterback depth chart. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but they're finding a way.
Minnesota certainly did.
And again, that's over a Detroit team still playing for a playoff berth. You saw Miami on Sunday do it against a Tampa Bay team that was still playing for something. We have seen some teams do that. Not easy by any means. I don't act like it is. But, if I had to slice the pie, that's probably where I would go. I think, again, if you want to get technical, the moment Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, this team was already out of the playoffs. So I can't just sit here and say, well, if Jones doesn't tear his Achilles, you're going to make it. I don't think it's that black and white.
Boy, part of me wants to think it is, but you make a compelling argument.
But again, is that enough to sit here and say, well, boom, everybody's back?
I don't think it is, but
because
also,
this is the 9 years versus the 1 year.
Yeah, but also, again, I am on record saying this like my record actually matters. But if you do get rid of Chris Ballard, just go ahead and get rid of everybody at that point, in my opinion. Because trying to thread the needle of still thinking you're in some sort of window with this aging roster is naive to me. So if you do run it back, which I don't totally agree with, I get it from the standpoint of, well, let's just see what we have again, which, again, not the greatest argument in the world. But if you get rid of Ballard, I don't want to hear about, well, let's just tweak this one thing or this other thing and we'll be right back to it. Like, he isn't going out there playing. Those players still aren't good enough from your point earlier, Kevin. So I think you're looking at a very hard reset if you get rid of Ballard, which will probably be welcomed by this fan base.
I still can't believe you went with you'd rather be in the rain than the cold.
It might be a cultural difference.
Is it?
I don't know, man. I don't do cold, brother. Like, I think anybody in my family would probably choose the same thing I just chose. I'm dead serious on that. 60 degrees in the rain, I'll put on a raincoat and I'll be fine.
Yeah, but the raincoat, like, you can manage the cold. I think you can manage the cold better than you can manage being wet.
How cold we talking? That's my thing. If it's under like 30 degrees, I'm not doing it. But also, I feel like I'm not a true fan. I've told you this. Like, I don't want to sit up here and act like I'm living and dying with Notre Dame basketball like you are, or Notre Dame football.
Hey, big one tonight, 9 o'clock tonight at Stanford. Come on now, time to get back on track.
Yeah, I mean,
Out West, Stanford and Cal.
I said, you literally told me you wish it hurt more that Illinois lost to Indiana.
Time to get
sorry,
back on
brother.
track.
I don't have it in me.
By the way, my heart skipped a beat when I saw the Marcus Freeman tweet yesterday. I don't know what I thought for a second it was maybe I'm just living in this world right now where the Colts and the Pacers can't win a game. I thought to myself, holy he's going.
I got to tell my boy to lay off the Beijing, though. I love Marcus Freeman. He's a great coach. But
yeah, you were hating on his hairline the other day.
Ain't nobody hating on his hairline. It doesn't exist. Like, I got a couple of, what they call trouble spots up here. I'm not finna go get the black paint out. I mean, come on, man. Do
I need to send him the link to We Grow Hair Indy?
Yeah, you probably do. Or you need to send him a link to my barber. We'll take care of him. Give him the old baldy. Which is fine. He's a very handsome man. He'll survive. But, boy, seeing the amount of paint on his head is disgusting.
It is
and you know what it
paint.
is? I'm going to say it right now.
Is it Carlos Boozer?
Yeah, it is Carlos Boozer. He's going to, if you rub up against him, you'll end up with black paint on your shirt. Kind of like Jaylen Brown has been doing to players this season in the NBA. But one thought on this, Kevin.
Man, you are all over this.
I'm very all over this because I hate it so much. They will not win a national championship until he takes the Beijing out of his head. There you have it. That's the biggest issue with Notre Dame. None of this, not being in a conference and
Not
being
guarding
frozen
Jeremiah
out.
Smith on a third down last year in the national
none of
title.
that. Not the committee. The committee isn't deciding his haircut or his hair paint for that matter. Love you, Marcus Freeman.
I know Marcus Freeman goes to a lot of like Notre Dame basketball games, and coming up in February, Duke is going to be in South Bend. Incredible opportunity for We Grow Hair Indy to kind of advertise out there with Carlos Boozer in attendance for his sons. Marcus Freeman will be sitting courtside. There you go.
Look at that. Boozer doing, the free throw contest on one end, Freeman on the other end, and have a nice little Darren Andrews in midcourt there ready to hand out some product. Coming up, 8 o'clock hour, much more. Who do we think will start for the Colts coming up week 18? Did Shane Steichen leave the door open for round 4 of the Phillip Rivers?
See, you caught on to that, why that was the rejoiner there. There we go.
Re-era. We'll hit that. Scott Docterman out in Pasadena. We'll talk Indiana. Boots on the ground out there. Hoosiers and Crimson Tide. We are just 2 days away from the Rose Bowl. Touchdown favorite. How could Mother Nature impact this game? We'll hit on all of it coming up 8 o'clock hour on this Tuesday morning.
If it's happening with the Indianapolis Colts,
They give it to Taylor.
then it's happening on the Fan.
Jacksonville has the lead for the first time. The first touchdown of the season for Mo Alley Cox, and he made it with one hand. Colts back on top into the end zone, and it is intercepted by Jacksonville. Antonio Johnson ends the game, and the Colts losing skid now 6 games.
Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The official home of the Indy Sports Fan.
Ready to find the right candidates for your job posting? Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you connect with talent that actually matches what you're looking for. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Sounds like we've got some promos here for We Grow Hair Indy. Little do they know, we're already cooking something up on this Tuesday morning. Boy, the old Sharpie. That I feel like that'd be quite humbling. All of a sudden, you're looking in the mirror saying, "Can I keep it between the lines here?" I don't have that issue. If you contact We Grow Hair Indy, they're gonna do it all natural. That's what they did for me. Good hair in the back. They said, "Hey, your follicles are strong back there. Let's take that. Let's put it up top." And all of a sudden, we're cooking with a little bit of grease here. Online, WeGrowHairIndy.com, and up on the northwest side. Again, that's building number 2 at the Pyramids. Darren Andrews and his staff, they're informative, and I also think they're pretty caring. I walked in there a little hesitant about the whole process, to be totally honest with you. But like the info I heard, reassured, and from there, the decision was made. Again, it's online, WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
On the golf tee, it's Skechers World Champions Cup. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. It's PGA Champions Tour golfers from all over the world. Team USA versus Team Europe versus Team International. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. The competition will be tense, but feet will be comfy. Tune in to Skechers World Champions Cup. Final round of golf on Sunday, December 7th on ABC, 1 to 5 p.m.
A perfect day with the perfect playlist. But accidents happen. When it happens, hire Hensley. Call Hensley Legal Group at 888-HENSLEY or visit hirehensley.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
The Fan cares, and if you or someone you care about needs food assistance, we have resources for you, including food distribution locations with an interactive map. Also, learn how you can make a difference for friends and neighbors in need, all at 1075thefan.com.
Heat and cool with nearly geothermal efficiency in places you can't fit ductwork with Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits.
Just go to AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway, because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room, and now everything smells weird.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
If you could hear Old Spice Fiji antiperspirant, what would it sound like? First, you'd start with Fiji Antiperspirant's amazing scent of palm trees. Add pure notes of fresh coconut and layer on 24/7 odor and sweat protection. You won't hear any dyes or parabens because with Fiji, you won't have any. So while your regular antiperspirant sounds like this, Old Spice Fiji sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
I should know that you're no good for me. 'Cause you're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in, then you're out, you're up, then you're down, you're wrong when it's right, it's back and it's
Caleb Zuber, very good on your end. It is a Tuesday morning. A little light dusting woke up to for the morning commute. Nothing too bad on that front. A lot to get to. Did Shane Steichen leave the door open for Phillip Rivers round 4 coming up Sunday in Houston? We'll hit on that here in a few. James at 8:30. We'll talk with your colleague from The Athletic, Scott Docterman. He is out in Pasadena. The man is absolutely insane to be waking up with us at 5:30 local time, but he will to talk some Hoosiers and Crimson Tide. I enjoyed this piece over on The Athletic that I think typically, you guys kind of do this around whatever, playoff time and, when you have a little bit of a long wait of the old Coaches Confidential series. Let's talk to coaches that have faced the Indianas, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, Miamis, et cetera, and get a little bit more insight into this. And this quote really stood out to me. It's from a Big Ten assistant here, talking about the team that you would least like to play of all the playoff teams. And he said, Indiana. And the quote was this: their defense is a problem. Their scheme makes you work a lot harder. They're very multiple. They're so good at fire zones, simulated pressures, and do a good job of fitting the run. Defensive coordinator Brian Haynes does such a great job of breaking his own tendencies, easy for me to say, tendencies. He does some stuff that is NFL complicated, and Fernando Mendoza's post-snap decision-making is exceptional. I think that first chunk, the Indiana defense, playing at a Sunday level, I think is just, it doesn't get talked about enough.
No, because Fernando Mendoza grabs all the headlines and our eyes always skirt towards the offense and the big plays. But, I mean, needless to say, they won the Big Ten championship 13-10. And you can't do that, obviously, if you don't have an elite defense going up against one of the premier offenses in the country in that game.
And that's why I look at, Thursday, and I just, the fact that Alabama cannot run the football, I just don't see a formula in how they win. I mean, Alabama was gifted getting back into that Oklahoma game. And I think Oklahoma's flawed. And I think Alabama's flawed. I guess simply, I just don't think Indiana's that flawed.
Do you think it matters at all that Alabama has played a game already? I don't know how much I care about the rust conversation.
And we saw.
And it was a factor, I think, a little bit last year.
I think the bracket played into a little bit of it last year as well. I don't think the bracket's as jarring from, last year the buys were, was it Boise and Arizona State? We don't have that from the 3 and the 4 seed this year. So I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. I mean, there is a little bit of is the Stephen Daly injury need to be talked about a little bit more? I mean, he was probably your best defensive lineman. But again, I think that's a group that has great depth. And I think, that staff probably deserves a little benefit of the doubt. And I know we're talking a little, probably a lot about it, but I think the rain game would favor Indiana. Indiana can run it. Alabama can't. I mean, just to put it simple.
No, they literally can't.
They had negative rushing yards in the SEC championship game. That's really hard to do.
I mean, you can do that. And I don't say that often about football. I will say this, when we get to talking to Scott Docterman here in about 30 minutes, I'm very curious to know, I believe he had covered Iowa for quite some time, but just his perspective. I always like to get those who aren't in it, living it every day like us, how do they view it from the outside looking in? When did they kind of latch on and say, wait a second, this isn't a cute story anymore. This is a real thing. Because now the expectation, and rightfully so, is that IU is going to be in this conversation as far as national championship, Big Ten championships for years to come. Coach Signetti isn't going anywhere. And, I mean, they paid a boatload of money to make sure his coordinators don't go anywhere either. So that, to me, is an interesting layer to all of this. Like, yes, you want the success for this season. And, boy, if you ever had a chance to win a national championship, it feels like it's this year. But this isn't as finite as some run they made a few years ago, for example, with Michael Penix Jr., where personally I thought, okay, this might be like the one-off year.
A couple texts here from the text line. They can't make a decision on Chris Ballard because of an 8-game stretch this year and overlook the other 8.5 years. Kind of on the flip side of that, James, he goes, regarding Ballard, you keep asking if it's 1 year or 9. Could it be that the reason Ballard changed his ways this year because Carly Orsay allowed him to do it? Possibly Jim had handcuffed Chris Ballard for the first 8 years. Think there's any merit to that?
That's an interesting concept. I don't know. I can say that she doesn't seem to be as volatile as her father. I think that's a fair term to use as far as, how he would make decisions. And we saw a few of them that backfired tremendously here over the last few years. But I also think that this season presented some unique opportunities that other seasons just had not. And really, it started with the quarterback. You punt on Anthony Richardson, which was a decision I'm sure he discussed. He being Chris Ballard, you discussed potentially moving on from him or bringing in somebody else with Jim Irsay when he was still living. And when you hit on Daniel Jones, I think that kind of changed your trajectory a bit and perhaps your calculus in making those decisions that then involved Carly Orsay Gordon.
It's going to be rather, I think, unprecedented is if we get on Sunday or Monday, whenever, and it's the same letter and everybody's back. The fact that you have kind of two parts to the Ballard resume. One part is, of course, the numbers, James, that you know off the top of your head. What is it? 0 division titles, 1 playoff win, 2 playoff appearances?
There you go, brother.
So you have that part of the bottom line business part of the resume. The win-losses, division titles, playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. And then you also have the other part of it where really the one time outside of Quentin Nelson that you had the top 5 pick and had to make a franchise-altering decision, I think at this point it's fair to call Anthony Richardson a bust. We'll obviously see if things change, but at this point, the draft pick has been a bust. That's pretty freaking wild to survive both of those things.
Very good point.
Like your resume obviously speaks for itself. The bottom line business, again, 0 division titles, 1 playoff win, 2 playoff appearances. But then you also throw in the other aspect. When you've had the chance to restart the clock, when you've had the chance to make the franchise-altering pick, it's a pick that will probably go down as one of the bigger busts we've seen, if indeed it's over for Richardson here in Indy, which I think there's a lot of signs that point to that being the case.
Yeah, for sure. I think that him and Steichen aren't necessarily the same mold. I also think that from the Richardson perspective in camp, you probably just want a fresh start at this point because we can talk about it ad nauseum, but it's just stale now, I think, with that whole idea that he's going to work out here. Because even if he gets another opportunity, let's say next year, how big or how real is that opportunity when you're going to bring back Daniel Jones most likely, when Leonard is still here, when the conversation about the future is probably about Riley right now versus being more about Anthony Richardson. And yeah, I think that is something I hadn't really thought about because
like surviving both, you know?
Yeah, like those are two huge misses.
And again, different. I mean, you can talk about them in different light. You can obviously have whatever high pick. San Francisco is the best example of it. They royally missed on Trey Lance.
And then they hit the freaking jackpot with Brock Purdy.
And they have results like none other.
Yeah.
So you could do both sides of it.
But even then, when they missed on Trey Lance, they had already built up a track record of here's what we've done. Right. Here's why we deserve another chance to do this again.
I mean, comparing the John Lynch resume is,
Yeah, it honestly feels like a little bit of a weight class difference.
Right. Yes, it's comparing my high school resume to the valedictorian. All right, let's get the Shane Steichen audio. This is from yesterday.
I was top 10 in my class.
Whoa, really?
I told you I was good.
Is this where I ask if there's 27 people at Romeoville
No, I
High?
was going to tell you, this is when I remind you that you can retake every test I ever took in high school. So the grades were always good in my book.
That is quite the...
Anybody that didn't graduate from Romeoville High School in Illinois, you are probably a really big disappointment. Just honest.
All right. Calling people out.
Who will start for the Colts in Week 18? I thought the Shane Steichen answer yesterday, I don't know if he was just trying to scratch Phillip Rivers' back here, but I don't know. This sounded like the door was open to me.
Obviously, bringing Phillip in here to come here and play is what he wanted to do. And he's been playing, and obviously there's one left. And so those are conversations that we're having with him to see how that goes. And that's pretty much it. Getting a feel for him, and obviously Riley having an opportunity to play as well. So those are just ongoing conversations that we're having right now.
That is just a wild piece of audio. It's unbelievable. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, sports radio guy, but like, is he really going to do this?
My Zoom was muted, but on the inside, I was like, what in the world? Like, did I hear that correctly? It was one of those where I wish I could just pause time and rewind it to listen to it again and be like, boy, that sounded like, it almost sounded like it was Phillip Rivers' decision.
Do you think it's actually a hard decision for Shane Steichen? Because after hearing that, I was like, wait a second, are you like,
I think it's
burn
hard.
the midnight oil? Like, boy, what do I do? Like, what do you mean, what do you do?
It sounds a little, not to use the Joe Buck term, but it sounds a little bit like there's some, hey, I'm super close with this dude, and that's at play here. I mean, I hate to say that, but does it not sound like that?
It absolutely
And
does.
trust me, if they go this route, get your hibachis ready. I'm cooking. Because there's no way this could be justified at this point.
If you want to say the whole, we brought him here to help us get into the playoffs or try to make this playoff push, fine. Like, okay, if that's what you want to go with, okay. Well, the losing streak's 6 weeks. Playoff elimination has occurred, and it didn't occur 18 hours before kickoff like it did over the weekend. Get answers on your youth. And I said it to open up the show, and I'll say it again. In all seriousness, if you want to play out the best case scenario for the Steichen Ballard regime for next season, let's say it, Daniel Jones is able to be healthy and effective for, I don't know, what's a realistic goal? 12 games? All right, Daniel Jones is healthy for 12 games. Let's say Daniel Jones goes 8-4 in those 12 games. That means you got 5 other games likely to start the season where you're going to need another quarterback. And those 5 games, you can't be starting 1-4. You start 1-4, the weight of the world's on Daniel Jones now. And the chances of, making a run and trying to flip this script again, and we're probably talking about another 8 or 9 win Colts football team. And we're doing the same damn song and dance we've done I'm going to post that damn poll I posted yesterday for a 3rd straight year. So to me, a chance to get Riley Leonard out there, get his feet wet against the number 1 defense in the NFL, I find that more beneficial than watching Rocky IV play out. Hell, I'd be worried about Phillip Rivers' general health if he's out there against Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter.
Well, to be clear, I'm worried about any quarterback's health facing that defense. But yeah.
I just want to say for the record, Rocky IV is the good one, by the way.
Is that the good one?
That's Drago. That's
okay.
But Rocky V, just going forward, Kevin, I think that would be the reference.
I didn't know there was a Rocky V until this morning.
Let me reorganize my thoughts here. Well, hell, it might be Rocky V if Phillip Rivers is starting week 1 next year.
Oh, boy. Stop this. He did say.
Did you hear that right there? Did you hear that audio? You want me to play it again?
Well, play the audio of Phillip Rivers after the game Sunday. This is it. I'm going back to the sideline. People say that's where I belong.
And he has said that before.
He has said that before. I find it so funny that within, I want to say this calendar year, he signed a 1-day contract to retire as a Charger.
Like in July.
Yeah, and then came out of retirement with the Colts, and then now say he's going back into retirement, and I'm going, not so fast, my friend. Little Lee Corso action there. Like, you're not fooling me anymore.
Like, I listened to Steichen's answer, and I just got more confused. I was like, wow, is he like going out of his way to try and not, like, To me, there's no public shame at all in saying, Phillip, unfreaking believable job coming off the couch. Unbelievable job.
We have D. Craig in the YouTube chat. Y'all are crazy. Phillip Rivers was chilling with his fam. He wants to get out there and sling it. You don't beg a guy out of 5 years retired to come help you out, then not let him play if he wants to. Oh, yes, you do. This isn't some, participation
Is his
league.
last name Orsay? Like, what do we...
He was a lifelong Charger. Like, this is not Peyton Manning either. Like,
I wouldn't care if it was.
Right.
The time has
I want to
come.
make this clear. Like, I love Phillip Rivers. I think the story is incredible. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think it's inspirational. It's cool as hell. Blah, blah, blah. I don't need to see him play another game of football for the Colts. I don't. And if that sounds like me taking a shot at Phillip Rivers, so be it. I mean, I would argue, too, it's not like, if you really want to get technical about this, it's not like Sunday was him ascending as a player since his return. His own words, James. What do you say on Sunday? That was the worst game I've had.
Yeah.
So it's not like the arrow was all of a sudden pointing up. He just needed a few weeks to get warm.
If he had thrown for 300, I might be like, okay, I want to see it again.
So I just, I do
How
not
many
view
passing
it.
yards did he even have Sunday? Was it like, what was it, like 150 or something like that? It wasn't that many.
Again, it's a dinosaur offense right now with him. The second and the third fewest yardage games of the Steichen era. So what's the Steichen era? 50 games into it?
Yeah, he's exactly at 25 and 25.
With Rivers at quarterback, you've had the second and the third fewest. And this is with a team that's had Anthony Richardson quarterback a lot of games with Shane Steichen. So, yeah, I don't... I think I'm reading too much into the audio, but I heard that yesterday, and I thought to myself, damn, that door is open.
Well,
I don't know.
call your boy. I'll come kick it shut.
Is that Texans gamesmanship there?
Could be.
I mean, boy.
But what's the reason? Like, seriously.
In the start of that clip, will you play that again?
We should. I was going to say we should play it again.
Just to start, it sounds like, like he came here and he wanted to play or like something along those lines. Play this again.
Obviously, bringing Phillip in here to come here and play is what he wanted to do. And he's been playing. And
is what he wanted to do.
There's one left. And so
Shane Steichen's the head coach. Like, you're the head coach. The 44-year-old off the couch is not dictating terms here. You decide who plays and who doesn't. And you're officially eliminated from the playoffs. Let's opt for the 6th-round pick and see if you've got a shot in the dark there.
It's funny. Some people don't think it's controversial that Riley Leonard should start, and some people don't think it's controversial that Phillip Rivers should start. It just seems pretty clear to me. Like, I don't know what you gain from Phillip playing Sunday.
I thought this was wild. Nathan Brown from the Star had this, James. I don't know if you saw this. And I think this is a little bit of, when we talk about the Rivers-led offense, it limits you, obviously, from a vertical passing game standpoint. But I would argue it's really limited you in the run game.
Oh, absolutely.
Jonathan Taylor's last run of over 15 yards was the Kansas City game. I mean, think about that. We're talking 0 run plays of over 15 yards in the last 5 games. And Taylor's been healthy. He's getting 20 carries a game. No 16-yarder, no
20 carries for 60 yards.
18-yard. I mean, that's every game right now. It's 21 carries for 72 yards. And, honestly, some of that goes back into a little bit of the Daniel Jones element, too, of like, I think it's a reminder to me of if you have a quarterback with just a little bit of a leg threat, again, I'm not asking you to be Lamar Jackson, but it can do so much in the numbers games, just helping you all of a sudden make a play or two, not only for yourself, but also certainly for that running back. I think the official Taylor stat was, if you look at the season, he had 21 run plays of over 15 yards through the Kansas City game. I think that was 11 games. So 21 times over 15 yards. And he's had 0 in the last 5. It's a dinosaur offense.
I was going to say, that is pretty compelling there from my colleague, Nathan Brown.
Yeah, I thought that was very good from Nathan. All right, coming up in 10, Scott Docterman. He has boots on the ground. I swear James Boyd has said that he's going to wake up at 5. I assume he's awake. 5:18 a.m. local time out in Pasadena to chat with the fan morning show in Indianapolis, Indiana.
For the love of the game.
For the love of he's
got that dog in him. Don't you ever doubt my boy.
He's Phillip Rivers. Love the game. He deserves a start. He deserves a start coming up on Sunday. We'll chat with Scott here in a few. Let's hit a morning check down. You got to go back to December 8th. That is the last time we have seen the Pacers or the Colts win a game. The Pacers' losing streak is now 9. They got boat raced in the first 3 quarters last night by the Houston Rockets. Rick Carlisle took Jay Huff out of the game 90 seconds into it because Steven Adams was being an absolute grizzly bear on the glass. Tony Bradley went in there, got into foul trouble, and at that point I was like, okay, I think I've seen enough for tonight. Kevin Durant had 30. James Cam Jones, the second-round pick out of Marquette, did get in the game in the second quarter. So we have seen him start to be a little bit more active and being available and playing for this team. And I did think, in all seriousness, I thought Aaron Nesmith looked pretty good last night, his second game back.
Yeah, that's about the only bright spot for this team, which I believe still currently has the worst record in the NBA. So, number 1 pick incoming.
Rick Carlisle tomorrow at 9:30, I believe, in pencil there. Obviously, a late travel back from Houston. They'll have their matinee tomorrow, their New Year's Eve matinee. I don't have my contacts in. I can't read the board. What is that? Is that 3 o'clock tomorrow? Actually, I don't even see the Pacers up there. 3 o'clock or 3:30, I believe, tomorrow for the Pacers as they take on the Orlando Magic. And is it Wemby on Friday? Is this our Wemby game?
Oh, is that when I make my reappearance at Gainbridge Fieldhouse? Because I haven't been there in a while.
Is that the hardest visiting ticket to get now for the Pacers? Is that above Steph and LeBron?
I still don't think so. I still think Steph is probably the hardest ticket.
I was watching Spurs Cavs last night, and they threw a lob on a fast break off the backboard to Wemby, and I was like, what do you even do?
And he wasn't even, open.
He was covered. That's
he was
right.
in traffic, and he just threw it up.
Yeah, that is 3 o'clock tomorrow with the Orlando Magic, and yes, Victor Wembanyama and company coming up. That is Friday. Here I'm double checking to make sure the Spurs aren't on any sort of back-to-back here. It doesn't look like it. So it's good news here. Oh, they do have a back-to-back, I guess, on the second night of that. So something to keep an eye on here for Friday. All right, Purdue all over Kent State last night in West Lafayette, 101-60. Shout out to Jack Benter, the Brownstown Central product. The man has now made 10 straight threes. That is a Purdue school record. You look at the all-time scoring list in the IHSAA, he falls right behind Eric Hunter, Trayvon Blewett, 11th all-time. Jack Benter, the flamethrower. Big time for Purdue last night. And again, defensively, Purdue pretty good. Kent State averaged 94 a game, and they held them to 60. So Purdue now restart Big Ten play coming up on Saturday. They are at the Kohl Center against Wisconsin. Speaking of road games, Butler tonight is at Creighton. That's 9 o'clock on FS1, a slight underdog. This is not your normal Creighton. They are just 8-5 on the year. They do have some, impressive double-digit wins, but still not, I think, how we viewed Creighton as a consistent top 25 team here as of late. And what a big week for Butler. Over the next 7 days, they'll have 3 games that fall into that quad 1 category. If you look at it right now, Butler is a tournament team. So very important for Thad Matta and company to get, I would argue, 2 of these 3. They'll be at home against Villanova Saturday. They got Rick Pitino's Red Storm coming in here a week from tonight. And shout out to Matthew Graves. Great to see him back on the sideline last night. I know he caught up with John last week. Obviously had the awful heart issue back just before the season started. And his Sycamores delivered. They got a win in overtime over Belmont. Monday Night Football last night, James Boyd. For those that went to bed early, they missed, I would say, one of the better Monday night games of the year.
Yeah, it started off red hot for the Falcons. The Rams made a crazy comeback, and then the Falcons hang on with a 51-yard field goal to win it. Had they lost that game, they were saying on the broadcast, Kevin, that would have been their biggest blown lead since 28-3 in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Oh, boy, they went there.
They went there. And for a second there, I thought the Falcons were falconing.
Jared Verse had one of the more impressive individual plays you'll see on
Every
a field
time I bring
goal
him
block.
up, people tell me, we could have had him. I know.
Yeah, he was, 2 picks after Latu, is that right?
I believe so.
So Jared Verse, outstanding for the Rams last night. We are done with Monday night games. Reminder, Saturday action here. We'll get Carolina and Tampa. They said on the broadcast last night, weirdly, that that game, because Atlanta won, is now not just a win and get in. I believe the Panthers could also get in if the Saints win on Sunday or something weird. So NFC South is a little bit more complicated. We will get the game for the number 1 seed in the NFC. That's 49ers and Seahawks. That's coming up Saturday night. And again, reminder, game 272 is Ravens and Steelers. And I'll continue to say what I said yesterday, is the loser of that. Is that our big head coaching domino here in the 2025 coaching cycle? I think that'll be something very interesting to watch. December 30th is the calendar. Happy 41st to LeBron James. Happy 50th to Eldrick Woods.
And shout out to the great Greg Rakestraw.
Does that make you feel old? Brother. Tiger's 50?
Not really, because I feel like Tiger has lived quite a few different lives since I've become a sentient person.
Who's got more lives, Tiger off the field or Chris Ballard on it?
Ooh.
Well,
I don't know. Tiger had a couple of those lives beat out of him.
Yeah, that's an understatement there. Gosh, 50. Tiger
eligible for the senior tour or something, right? Isn't that right?
No, I saw that headline. Hell no.
No,
no chance. That man's just got to get held. To James's point, that's a brittle body right there. Can you imagine?
It's true.
Hell, put Tiger in front of that Texans defense on Sunday afternoon. See what happens there. All right, coming up on the other side, Scott Docterman live from Pasadena. He joins us next.
Welcome to Wawa. We're open 24/7, so when the sun goes down but everyone's still up, Wawa has your late night fuel. Headed to a hangout? Stop in for snacks and sodas. Binge your favorite shows with burgers and hoagies. Gather around the table with garlic knots and a cheesy Wawa pizza. Or just chill on the couch with fries and whatever milkshake sounds good. Your night just got a whole lot tastier. Freshly made burgers, pizza, and so much more. When you got a late night craving, you got a Wawa. Price and participation may vary by store.
It's JMV for Indiana's Best. My friend Eric Wilson and Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37. It's in Fishers. Check it out right now. The GMC Acadia, good for you, the family, and the friends of the family. Inventory. Car buying experience, service after the sale, the absolute best. It's one-stop shopping. Ask for Eric Wilson and head to Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig-speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig-speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with a Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With Wawa's Rewards program, you can rack up points on the items you buy every day, even fuel. Boost your totals with a breakfast sizzling. Score points with your morning coffee. With Wawa Rewards, points put the power in your hands. You can choose to redeem them for what you love most, like an iced latte for an extra pick-me-up or your lunchtime hoagie. Download the Wawa app today. When you gotta get rewarded, you gotta Wawa. Fuel rewards not available in New Jersey or were legally prohibited. See full details at wawarewards.com. Price and participation may vary by store.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please. Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours. Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours. Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets the Duralast battery.
Have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The Ride with JMV.
And the Colts losing skid now has reached 6 games. You have exhausted everything. And you've even seen the good. You saw a 2-month run of the good that came to fruition that failed miserably. There's not any Band-Aids or any patches that will do a damn bit of good until you change everything up.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, Thursday, 4 o'clock. It is the Rose Bowl. The Indiana Hoosiers, a touchdown favorite over the Alabama Crimson Tide. Indiana got to Pasadena late last night, and our next guest, Scott Docterman from The Athletic, he is currently boots on the ground, and he is a far better human being than I. That's probably how simple I will put it. I was chatting with James Boyd yesterday and said, I think it'd be great if we got somebody college football specific on to talk about Indiana, Alabama coming up on Thursday. We had Scott on, I think, just after maybe the Big Ten championship, somewhere around then, and he was great. And I didn't realize, James, that he was literally in California. It's 5:32 in the morning out there.
Hey, Scott can vouch for this. I did test him, and I told him, hey, you don't need to do this if you're out west, and I
can't believe
insisted.
You asked.
No, I asked. The question I put out there said, if you're out west, then I'll find somebody else. I didn't know where he was going to be because he's a national college football writer.
Unfreaking believable. The Payless Liquors hotline we head to right now. Scott, what are you doing awake right now?
Yeah, thanks for having me. As you could tell, I enjoyed LA a little bit too late last night, and now here I am this morning, and I woke up about an hour ago going, you know what? This probably wasn't the best idea in the world, but I'll take it. But no, it's all good. It's a pretty exciting environment right now. I mean, when you start to talk about the Rose Bowl, it means something to Midwesterners. And I've seen some of the videos so far of a lot of Indiana fans heading out, and I think I saw somebody's Instagram where they were offering $1,500 for somebody to get off their flight because they were just jam packed with Hoosiers coming out this way, and it just shows you what the Rose Bowl still means even in this day of change in college football.
I'll tell you what, for $1,500, I'm getting off that flight. I'll
Travel
catch y'all
packet
later.
of Advil for Scott here
The game
after
ain't
the
tomorrow.
interview at the media hotel. Scott, I thought the piece was really good about how did Indiana football get so good so fast inside Curt Signetti's turnaround. We've talked a lot about it, obviously, in our little bubble, but for you, what maybe stood out the most in researching that piece?
I think it was talking to some kind of assistants around the Big Ten and you know, because there's some things that you want to know that maybe I'm not necessarily either privy to or well versed enough in, you know, whether it's their schematics or how they put the scheme together. And really, from what the assistant said is, yeah, I mean, they do a nice job with the scheme, but it's really about the coaching and the fundamentals. And I always think that's some of the most difficult things to do in this day and age of college football, where it's somewhat transient and you use the portal a lot. And I think it was kind of what it came down to me was this perfect confluence of having the right coach bring the right foundation with him and then supplementing the players that he had with quality players out of the portal who fit rather than just, hey, oh, wow, this guy's a bounce back 4-star guy from some SEC school and taking a flyer there. And he was actually more direct in how he wanted to bring those guys in. But once they came on campus, the way that they were able to develop them and coach them and turn them into from decent players to very, very good or elite players like a Fernando Mendoza, who was a really nice player at Cal last year, but then took that team and that player and ended up becoming the Heisman Trophy winner because of the way they could coach and the way they put the team together. I think that was really what stands out to me about Indiana, because when you look at like this matchup specifically 2 years ago, I'd have thought anybody was crazy if they would have said, A, that Indiana even would be in the Rose Bowl, but B, play Alabama, be a 7-point favorite. And really, when you look at the matchup, if Indiana plays well, Indiana wins this, and probably by more than double figure range, because they are clearly the better team. And it shows you just how, you know, kind of the college football landscape has changed so much and how Indiana was able to capitalize on that with a truly great coach in Curt Signetti.
Again, we have Scott Docterman from The Athletic joining us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline, despite being 3 hours behind on the West Coast. So thanks for the time, Scott. One of the quotes that stood out to me in your story recently on IU and their rise, which has been movie-like, Hoosier-like, if you want to make a movie reference, one of the Big Ten assistants that you gave anonymity to said, they're not trying to out-scheme guys. They're trying to play unbelievably, fundamentally well and harder and tougher than their opponents, and their scheme allows them to do that because it's not a bunch of Star Wars out there. That was pretty funny to me because we know how exotic and crazy college offenses can look, but how much have you seen IU just be who they are, if that makes sense? It's a kind of a cliche, but to that point, yeah, there isn't a whole lot of makeup. They just go out there and kind of beat you down.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because when you look at their road games this year that they had to come back and win at Iowa, at Oregon, at Penn State, that was about toughness and physicality as much as it was scheming guys in the right spot to make those plays. And, you know, I would say specifically Iowa and Oregon, I mean, two of the best offensive lines in the country and two of the tougher defensive lines in the country. And they had to slug it out with those teams just to put themselves in a position to win. And then what they were able to do was emphasize the skills and smarts that their players had and put them in positions to make winning plays. And I'll go to the Iowa game specifically. I mean, it was they were in kind of fortunate situation that they had an opportunity to win the game. But when they did, Elijah Surratt made one of the best plays of the season in scoring a 49-yard touchdown pass, because Iowa was coming at him with heat. I mean, blitzing, and Surratt, with his relationship with Fernando Mendoza, which was quick, but the way that they coached it, he kind of shaped his route a little bit. You know, he didn't get quite the depth on it, but he was able to get this explosiveness on it to where Iowa's cornerback couldn't break on him quickly enough. and Fernando Mendoza laid a great pass on that slant. And next thing you know, he was able to race to the end zone because he reshaped his route. And a lot of that is through his own skill set and abilities. And it was the way that they were able to pick up the blitz just enough. And then, but it wasn't anything like magic or schematically impressive. It was just the way that they played within the scheme. And I would say the same thing just about the physicality is when you're playing some of those teams, you've got to meet that or you're going to get beat. And that's probably maybe the biggest surprise over the Signetti era is that both lines of scrimmage meet that physicality against anyone. Ohio State, Iowa, Oregon, you name it, they're able to do it. And for them to be able to do that, it maximizes their abilities, and then it allows what I think is some of the best route spacing I've seen in college football with those receivers.
Again, that's Scott Docterman live from Pasadena right now. He's gracious with his time here early on this Tuesday morning. Indiana got to Pasadena last night, and they will have a practice today coming up. Thursday, 4 o'clock, it is the Rose Bowl. Scott, wildly, it looks like rain in the forecast for Thursday. I read somewhere where we've only had one rain at the Rose Bowl period since 1955. Do you think a rain game would favor more Indiana or more Alabama?
I think definitely Indiana because Alabama's so one-dimensional. They can't run the ball, whether it's rain or shine. They're 125th in yards per carry. And so if they're going to have sloppy footing, then I think then they're going to have to certainly, go to the pass. And while it can work, you do have to counterbalance that. And whereas Indiana is balanced in every single aspect of its offense. So I would expect Indiana to really take advantage of that in the rain. And because to me, Indiana is clearly the better team in this. And unless they make a lot of mistakes, fumbles, turnovers, do something dumb on defense. I think this is really set up nicely for them. And then with bad weather conditions, I think it could be a surprising score at the end. Let's just put it that way.
One more on-field question before we let you go, Scott. How much of a factor do you think the loss of Stephen Daly will be for the Hoosiers, knowing that he was one of the top defensive linemen in the country and got injured celebrating after they had advanced to this stage of the college football playoffs?
Yeah, what a terrible injury, and it wasn't like he was doing anything crazy. He was just kind of reaching up and slapping hands, and just a terrible injury. And I think it does have an impact because he is, one of the best guys when it comes to penetration and tackles for loss. But I think the way I've seen with Bryant Haynes and what makes him such a good defensive coordinator is he plays with the players he has. So he'll probably scheme around him to where, okay, we need a little bit more quickness now off the edge in certain pass situations. So then they may elevate a linebacker into that role because they do have some depth there. But I don't know that this is the round where it'll show up. Because Alabama, has allowed 29 sacks already this year, and they're 100th in the country. So I think that it may show up in the next round if they're playing Oregon or Texas Tech, but specifically Oregon, and then definitely if they're playing Georgia or Ohio State. But it's such a real shame because he was playing so well this year.
Scott Docterman, again, from The Athletic, great piece, the Indiana football program and how it's been built with Curt Signetti. And coming up, it is Thursday, 4 o'clock in Indiana, Alabama, about a touchdown favorite here in the Rose Bowl. Scott, can't thank you enough, man. Get some rest, get some fluids. We'll talk to you.
All right, thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
That's Scott Docterman right there on the Payless Liquors
The
hotline.
sun isn't even up where he's at right now.
No chance.
He's talking to us.
No chance. Hell, the sun doesn't even rise till like 7:30, I feel like here.
Exactly.
If that, maybe more like 8 o'clock right now in the States. So much more on that. Joe Erickson from the Star going to join us coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll update you on where we're at from a fan poll standpoint and much more on this Tuesday morning. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Caleb Zuber, 93.5 107.5 The Fan.
When it came to setting them up for a bright future, Indiana Tech did more for these graduates than they ever imagined.
It helped me land my dream job and continue to serve people. It put me in a position to help others reach their potential.
It gave me the background and the confidence to keep aiming higher.
It gave me a platform to help make a difference for others.
With flexible online classes, personalized support to help you succeed, over 100 high-quality career-focused certificates, and degrees in in-demand fields like business, healthcare, engineering, criminal justice, information technology, cybersecurity, and more.
I earned a master's of business administration and marketing.
I completed my bachelor's of business administration and my MBA, master's of business administration.
I was able to graduate with my bachelor's of science and computer engineering.
Isn't it time to see what Indiana Tech can do for you?
There's no better time than now.
Learn more at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends January 9th.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's, but that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
When it comes to restoring your hair and your confidence, picking the right team makes all the difference. And at We Grow Hair Indy, some of the biggest names in sports, radio, entertainment, trust them with their hair restoration. We're talking Olympians, former NFL players, maybe even a radio host or two. They all chose We Grow Hair Indy because the results speak for themselves. And I've talked with people that have had it out of state, out of the country, and oh boy, some of their endorsements, not the most glowing, but I can be glowing about We Grow Hair Indy. They are excellent. I was a little hesitant at first walking into the building, but they're very reassuring. The education I got from Darren Andrews and his staff made my decision for me, and then I went ahead with the Artist Robotic FUE hair procedure. And from your first visit, I think you're going to know why. We Grow Hair Indy's technology is unmatched, and their team has decades of experience and proven results you can actually see. So if you're ready, take control of your hair loss, choose the right team, and schedule your free in-person or virtual evaluation today. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com or call 317-522-2995.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Get ready for heel-tapping fun as you discover the new $2 Wizard of Oz scratch-off from the Hoosier Lottery. With 4 unique scenes and prizes up to $10,000, the Emerald City awaits. From the Hoosier Lottery, champions of play. Play responsibly. The Fan cares, and if you or someone you care about needs food assistance, we have resources for you, including food distribution locations with an interactive map. Also, learn how you can make a difference for friends and neighbors in need, all at 1075thefan.com.
The top-ranked Hoosiers face the Crimson Tide of Alabama in the Rose Bowl. New Year's Day at 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Joe Erickson going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. He wrote a piece, kind of both sides of it. Why Orsay Gordon could bring everybody back and why she could not. So we'll hit on that here coming up in a few. James, I know, speaking of the Athletic, Jordan Rodriguez, I'm saying that last name right?
Yes, sir.
Rodriguez, she wrote a huge feature on Orsay Gordon. She was in the building, I'm trying to think, a couple weeks ago at this point. Reporting for this feature. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. You were speaking to me a little bit during the break. You said kind of one of your takeaways was it was a reminder of how close her and Chris Ballard are. Is that a takeaway that you had?
For sure. And to just give a little context here, Jordan spoke to Carly before things went south for this team. So it's an interesting profile for sure. I encourage you all to check it out. But to an extent, it's almost like you remember how different the vibes were before the Jacksonville game, before the torn Achilles for Daniel Jones. And there's a lot of great tidbits in here, a lot of the, I think, closeness of the relationship between her and Chris Ballard is examined. But, yeah, it doesn't also skirt the fact that there is a big, big decision for Carly to make regarding his tenure and other decisions for this franchise.
We were talking a little bit in the 9 o'clock hour about it yesterday. I decided to take a little bit of a deeper look at it. Again, Sunday will be the 11-year anniversary of the Colts' last home playoff game. Obviously, that correlates with no division titles in that span. And you and I were chatting, James. If you look at the quarterbacks and the head coaches here in the AFC South that have won the division, not a lot of names I think you'll hear in Canton, Ohio one day. So I went through the list. You ready for these head coaches that have won a division title in that span?
I am. I'm familiar with a few of them, but boy.
Let's just assume it's Liam Cohen and the Jags here this year.
Okay.
So you'll go with Liam Cohen, D'Amico Ryans twice, Doug Peterson, Mike Vrabel 2 times. Bill O'Brien won the AFC South 4 times. Doug Marrone in Jacksonville was your other. Those are your head coaches. Your quarterbacks, again, assuming it's Jacksonville this year, it'll be Trevor Lawrence twice, C.J. Stroud twice, Ryan Tannehill, Deshaun Watson, each 2 times. And then the first 3 winners that started this Colts drought, if you will, Blake Bortles, Brock Osweiler, and former Colt legend Brian Hoyer. So those are the names. Hoyer, Osweiler, Bortles, Watson, Tannehill, Lawrence, Stroud. Those are your quarterbacks and your head coaches as followed. Don't hear a lot of Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Lamar Jackson. Don't hear a lot of those names on that list.
That is pretty damning. I mean, I think you're selling Brian Hoyer short there. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. But
Colts starting quarterback, right? At one point, Brian Hoyer?
He was.
How about Bill O'Brien winning 4 AFC South titles? I don't think there's a man that has a more disparaged NFL resume than Bill O'Brien.
You're probably not wrong.
4 AFC South titles?
He might be the only one of the Belichick tree that actually did something as a head coach.
Yeah.
That's a good point Caleb just made. But when you put it like that, Kevin, and knowing that throughout the Chris Ballard tenure, you haven't got any closer to win the division, or I shouldn't say you haven't got closer because you were a drive away from winning it a couple years ago, but what you haven't delivered, in a division that has been wide open, it feels like annually, man, that is pretty darn disappointing.
Joe Erickson going to join us here in a few. Maybe tomorrow we can get more into it, James, but it's kind of an annual thing in Week 18 that I do, especially when, playoffs aren't possible, but, we could be looking at the final game in a Colts uniform for some notable players coming up on Sunday. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Daniel Jones' free agency, but Alec Pierce is a free agent, and I would argue he will be a very coveted free agent. Braden Smith currently injured, but what is his status? Are we done with the Kwity Paye thing? Or does the return of Chris Ballard mean Kwity Paye gets yet another chance? I would argue a first-round pick that has certainly not lived up to it. Nick Cross, I think, largely has had a pretty good ascent in his 4 years. Can you pay another safety big money like you've already paid Cam Bynum? Jermaine Pratt came over in free agency. He's stabilized a bit of the linebacker position, coming off a good game on Sunday. Is he back? Does Louis Anarumo's presence on the defensive side of the ball influence that or not? So it's kind of an annual thing in Week 18 that crosses my mind. And also, I think you got to have a long, hard conversation about even some of your others that might still have years left on their contracts, but it's big money, and I'd argue the return on investment's not there. What does the future necessarily hold for the likes of Michael Pittman Jr., Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore? Do you throw Jonathan Taylor into that group? Certainly so much of this depends on what your regime looks like, but that's definitely a conversation that I think you can have heading into Sunday.
I agree there. I will say when you look at just the decisions that loom over this team, I think you made a couple of good points there, just how dire things have been. And I think, Caleb, I turn to you sometimes for like the fan perspective on it. And the weird part about this Colts team, and I think it's gotten to this point this year especially, is just the apathy. It's the I don't care what happens anymore type of thing. There are, again, a ton of fans like fire everybody, get rid of everybody. I'm not dismissing those. But there's also like this apathetic outlook of, well, whatever we do, it's not going to work because we haven't seen any of your, chances or decisions work in the last few years.
I think that's how a lot of Colts fans felt before this season, that it was headed that way. And then you start 7-1, 8-2 or whatever.
And you're back in.
They reel you back in, right? And now we just end up kind of in the same place. That's what I think is kind of maybe not being spoken about enough, is just what week 1 next year, if everybody's back, what is that building going to be like? How do you ask the fans to say, no, we just need one more year. Give us one more chance at this. That's a tough ask, especially for new ownership. So I think kind of not being talked about enough, and it's probably being talked about a lot, but still, like, you can't overstate it here.
Right. I think it's well said. I think it's a really tough ask. And also you've got, hey, stick with us. And we've got a quarterback coming off a torn Achilles, which is probably another
not a great
element
selling
to it.
point.
Like, I thought Scott pointed out in the YouTube chat a little bit earlier, was the 8-2 start a blessing or a curse?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question.
It's a really interesting
I
point.
should write a story off that. Lord have mercy.
And, sometimes the hard reset, while difficult to admit is necessary, can be the necessary item to it all. So, yeah, that's something that we can get into. All right, coming up on the other side, Joel A. Erickson from The Star. He joins us next.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Heat and cool places where ductwork won't fit using Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits. You can even wrap them to match your decor.
Find out more at absolutecomfort.org.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis. The Ohio State Buckeyes take on the Miami Hurricanes in the Cotton Bowl tomorrow night at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, 9 o'clock hour. We await official word from Shane Steichen on exactly who the Colts starting quarterback will be in Week 18. It is a normal cadence week for the Colts, so today, player off day. Tomorrow, we'll do the Wednesday walkthrough, practice Thursday and Friday. Off to Houston for the season finale. And James, boy, that's a rocket run, right? That's a quick little trip for you guys trying to get back before locker room clean out, is it not?
Yes, sir. I will be flying out Saturday, flying back Sunday night after the game. So
pray for no overtime.
There you go. And even if there was, I'll probably just leave, catch my flight. I mean, does it matter? What am I staying around for? I'm being honest here. I actually thought about that. Like, with my editors, just be like, "Hey, hit the road."
Now, speaking of flights, did I get wind? There's a large. Is it a mural of Joe Erickson in the Indianapolis airport?
This is according to our P1 listener, Derek White, and I believe that is the case.
Mural, do I have that correct? Picture?
It can't be mural. It has to be something like, I don't know.
Statue?
Statue. I don't know if that would be
right next to the IndyCar
to really encompass how great of a person Joe Erickson is.
Joel, I haven't flown in a while. Is this true?
I am unaware that there's a picture of me in the airport. I didn't know that.
It's a wanted poster.
Oh, come on. Now you guys are just being I mean, he's just being a nice, humble individual.
It's a wanted poster. That's why he's being nice.
That.
You guys fly all the time. How have we not spotted this? It's not like our airport's that big.
I have no idea. I very seriously have no idea what the listener is talking about, that there's a picture of me in the airport.
I think it's similar to how I see it at Pacers games, because you have a partnership with them. And sometimes I'll see Joel pop up on like the Jumbotron, and I'll think, oh my gosh, I know that person. So it's a very cool experience. And maybe, Joel, I think if it is somewhere, it might be where baggage claim is, and we never go there because we pack light.
Yeah, that is true. If it is by baggage claim, I haven't been there in a long, long time, because everything's carry on and you just sail right through.
He didn't even check a bag to Berlin.
I did not.
That's efficiency. I respect the hell out of that.
I had that thing packed. I was worried the suitcase was going to explode. But I was like, because the last time we went to Germany, my wife came with us, and she checked the bag, and that bag didn't get there right away. And all I could think about was, I'm going to get to Germany, and they're going to be like, you don't have any clothes. And so I was like, I'm just going to take them with me.
Yeah, there's no way, all of a sudden you're scrambling in the Berlin airport for a zipper here to try to get your bag back together. You're busting at the seams. Joe Erickson from the Star with us here, Payless Liquors Hotline. Joel, let's start big picture. I know you wrote something on it, and I want to get into it. I thought it was a really good piece, kind of painting both sides of the Carly Orsay Gordon decision story. Let me ask you a question here first. Do you think the evaluation for her in regards to Chris Ballard is comparing a 9-year resume or a 1-year resume?
Yeah, I don't know, and I think that's kind of the most important question is, you asked way back in June, is this a playoffs or bust season? And she said, it depends on, what happens. She even mentioned injury as possibility. And I think that's really the ultimate question is it just comes down to, do you bet on the promise of this season? This is a team that did get to 8-2. They're still, I think, 4th in DVOA, which is a statistic that, is sort of it's like war in baseball or something like that, where you're trying to come up with a one-stop, kind of look at all of it, how good a team is. Do you use that and go, well, if we got Daniel Jones, maybe we can recapture that? Or do you look at the entire tenure? Because I think if you look at the entire tenure, it's hard to make that case. But if it's based on, do we want to try to recapture what we had at the beginning of this season, I think that's the case for bringing him back.
Again, we're talking to Indianapolis celebrity Joe Erickson, who has a mural and a statue soon to be erected outside of Lucas Oil Stadium as well.
He's the mid-court logo on the basketball court, I think he is.
Go. Shout out to the morning hoops that you play, Joel. But on a more serious note, we have been going back and forth about this when it comes to Chris Ballard here on the show. If you're evaluating him, Joel, how much do you weigh the 9 seasons as a whole versus the 1 year this year? Like, if you had to split it into percentages, what percentage are you going towards 9 years versus 1 year?
I think if it was me, I would lean towards the 9 years. I've been thinking about that for the last couple of days. Like, how would I handle it? On the flip side of it, though, I think part of it is that once you bring Shane Steichen into it, it pushes you back towards the 1 year. And that's I think maybe the hardest part is because they haven't been there together the whole year, the whole time. I think if you start with, if you're thinking about just Ballard, I think it's probably got to be, or at least in my mind, it should be the 9 years. But if it's Steichen, then I think it brings you back to this year because Steichen obviously wasn't here for the whole time. And if you get rid of your GM but don't get rid of your coach, I kind of think, and I'm sure there are examples against this, but it just feels to me like really you're just delaying the inevitable because the new GM always wants the coach. And so it feels like if you give up on a Ballard, you end up giving up on Steichen at the same time. And that's where I think the decision gets complicated because, you can move the general manager without moving the head coach. But the one that sticks out to me for that is just remember Tennessee fired their general manager. They had Mike Vrabel. The whole storyline for a month around that team was, this is Mike Vrabel taking full control over the Titans organization. And he's untouchable now. And then he was gone like 7 or 8 games into the next season. And that kind of, to me, underlined, if you make a move at one of those positions, you're just kind of delaying a move at one of the others.
And that's the voice of Joe Erickson from the Star. He's with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Joel, it's a question that I get, I would say a decent amount, but it's kind of a hard one for me to really try and justify. So I'll maybe throw it your way. And I was reminded of it. I was reading this piece in The Athletic this morning, kind of a Carly Orsay Gordon profile. In the piece, there's some phrase in there, and I'm paraphrasing here. It's the small town team in a big boys league, or however you want to describe the Colts, And I think if you talk 32 teams in the NFL financially, the Colts probably aren't in the top 5 or top 10 of that list. Given the transition in ownership, given the inheritance tax element to it, given I believe Chris Ballard has 1 more year left on his contract, I want to say Shane Steichen has 3 more years left. Do you think those finances and what it would cost to potentially fire both of them, do you think that's at play in any of this decision-making at all? Because I feel like that's a question I get asked about, a decent amount.
Yeah, that's a good question that I don't really know the answer to. One of the toughest things I think about covering the NFL is that outside of a hint, which is all we really get, is that when the Packers release theirs, because they release their finances because they're not owned by a single entity the same way that other teams are. That's a hint, but I also don't look at that too closely because the Packers obviously aren't the Colts, and I don't know that it applies too much. And we just don't know exactly what the cash flow is. There's no way, like in college, when you cover a college team, most of them it's a public school, so you can FOIA it and you can find out what the finances are. You just can't do it in the NFL, and so I think that's the toughest thing. Is I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if it plays into it or not.
So again, we're talking to Joe Erickson, Colts insider for Indy Star, and this just in from ESPN, Stephen Holden, Jeremy Fowler. The Colts are expected to start Riley Leonard for the season finale. If that is indeed the case, Joel, which I'm sure you're probably sending off some texts as well as I am, is that the right decision? Because yesterday, Shane sort of left the door open for possibly Phillip being back out there.
Yeah, I kind of thought on Sunday, the way he talked about it, it was kind of leaning towards Riley Leonard. I do think it's the right decision. You bring in Rivers because you feel like you want the professionalism and being able to run the offense and the experience and the experience to make the right decisions in games and play the right way in games, where you don't necessarily get that with the younger quarterback. They don't have the playoffs staring them in the face anymore. And I know this team believes Riley Leonard can be a developmental, backup, can develop into a backup at the very least in the NFL. And I think you make that decision to give him some snaps and give him that very important chance to play in a game once you're eliminated from the playoffs.
Do you think Phillip Rivers will be the backup?
They signed Seth Hennigan yesterday, and
sounds like the starter at HSC this past year, or was he Fisher's quarterback?
They signed former Memphis quarterback and Jaguars rookie Seth Hennigan yesterday to the practice squad, and immediately I think most people probably thought this. I thought, is that the backup for Sunday? Because I don't know if you're not playing Phillip Rivers in the starting lineup, I don't know if you have him ready to go. Even if he's there, I don't know if he's even if you keep him on the roster, I don't know if if he goes on the trip. I don't know if I would play him in the event unless you absolutely got down to your third quarterback. I think, both as a decision for the franchise, but also as just kind of a sign of respect for Phillip. You don't go, okay, we're just going to have you here as the backup in case of something. We're out of the playoffs, so now we're in a situation where we're going to handle it differently. Handle it more like, I can't remember. I think I texted James and some of the other writers with this. Some of the guys that played quarterback in the league last week started. Chris Oladokun for Kansas City. Josh Johnson is still playing for Washington. Brady Cook, as much as I love Brady Cook as a Missouri alum, I don't know that anybody thought he was going to start for the Jets this year. You're kind of getting more into that situation with those teams than you are when you were trying to still push for the playoffs.
So just to go over what we are guessing for the quarterback depth chart on Sunday, Leonard start, your neighbor Seth as the backup, Phillip Rivers holding a Microsoft Surface, not dressed, and Anthony Richardson not yet cleared for game activity. Is that what we're going with?
It sounded yesterday. It sounded yesterday like Anthony Richardson, like the Colts believe Anthony Richardson is still dealing with visual limitation, and I think that it seems like their team is concerned about the possible effects of putting him out there if he's dealing with that.
Okay, last one. Joel Erickson from the Star with us here, Payless Liquors Hotline. I'm going to leave it rather open-ended. The best player on the 2025 Colts football team has been who?
It's still Jonathan Taylor. I know
the numbers are ugly over the last 2 months. I will say that
they are, but the first 2 months were crazy.
Sure,
and I think that's the first 10 games. The Berlin game still happened. I mean, the other thing is the last 2 months have been. You're right. The last 2 months have been ugly, and he's going to finish second in the NFL in rushing, I think.
What if I took Taylor out of it?
If you take Taylor out of it, best player for the Colts this year. It's probably Quentin.
Cam Bynum.
Boy, that was a long pause.
It's probably Quentin. I was rolling through Quentin, Cam Bynum, Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren. Warren, like Taylor, had a fall off, but if you look at his numbers, it's still numbers you would absolutely take from a rookie tight end. He's over 70 catches. And then the other one that goes in there, especially like early in the season, would be I think the guy I was asked in the chat that we do on Indy Star, did I think any Colts got snubbed for the Pro Bowl? And I mentioned, Warren had a case, but I also think Tanner Bortolini had a case at center based on the way he played early in the season. Those spots went to Linderbaum in Baltimore and Humphrey in Kansas City, which those are kind of we always put these guys in here, guys. But I thought Bortolini was maybe making a play for a Pro Bowl spot early in the season.
Found his work. It's excellent as always. Joel A. Erickson over on the Indianapolis Star, and it'll be a quick one back from Houston, and we'll await what exactly is going to take place here coming up next Sunday, or I guess this Sunday and Monday. Joel, as always.
Joel, real quick, my subscription just renewed for Indy Star, so I want my shorts, I want my features, I want it all. Annual subscription, baby. I am locked in with Joel Erickson and Nathan Brown.
When you said shorts, I thought you meant literally basketball shorts.
No,
that was part of your 2026 gift.
No, I want
Indy
my
Star
short
logo.
stories is what I will say.
Picture
my
Joel
news
on the right
headlines.
on the right side.
I don't need any shorts from Joel. I think I got that covered.
Shorts with my face on them would not sell. There's no way that would sell.
There you go. All right, Joel, you have a good one, brother. I'll see you soon.
Okay, we'll see you.
Again, Joel Erickson right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. So the reporting from ESPN is it will be Riley Leonard coming up on Sunday. I know it may be a brief scare yesterday. I thought the Shane Steichen audio was a hair odd, but that's probably par for the course with Steichen there. But James, in my opinion, this is the right move. Again, you have to think about what next September could look like. And if Daniel Jones is going to be limited or not cleared yet in any way, shape, or form, I mean, not to look ahead too much, but can you imagine what September could be like for this team next year? I mean, you could be starting some sort of Riley Leonard-like guy, or I don't know, maybe you go out and you try to get a veteran backup in the offseason. I assume the Anthony Richardson experience is done. But, like, you're going to have to scratch and claw your way to a couple wins early in the season, or else you are behind the 8 ball and you are hoping and praying that Daniel Jones gets back from the torn Achilles and gives you, crazy good football for the final 3 months of the year to get back in it. So if you can get Leonard any experience, I think it's important to do that.
I would lean towards that as well. I get the personal relationship between Phillip Rivers and Shane Steichen, but you can't let that cloud what is plainly true. You're out of it. There is no future with Phillip Rivers. You might even argue that there's no future with Riley Leonard, really, but there's still a sliver of, we drafted this guy, he's young, roll with him and just see what he has. Because at the very least, even if he turns into a nice backup option for you, get his feet wet, man, in a game that otherwise doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I want to make this clear. I am certainly not saying or thinking or believing there is this Brock Purdy future for Riley Leonard. Right. I think that is beyond premature, but you might need a dude for September 2026, just point blank. So if you have an opportunity to try and get a guy that opportunity here on Sunday, I think that's beneficial than seeing another Phillip Rivers chapter. But nonetheless, if this is indeed it for Phillip Rivers, as I said yesterday, Derek Jeter gift hat tip, unbelievable. And I saw we have a Hall of Fame finalist for 2026 announced. Again, this is just the 15. They'll pare it down from there. But you look at that list, and boy, there's some definite names. This year's class: Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri is on the final 15. I couldn't believe Vinatieri didn't get in last year. I know it's a debate we'll have here in the coming weeks. I think the new selection process has really hurt a lot of these guys from getting in. Reggie Wayne is in the final 15. Frank Gore in the final 15. I mean, Brees and Fitzgerald, the first balloters, right?
Got to be, I would think, especially Brees. I mean, there's no way he's waiting.
Yeah,
there's no way he's waiting.
All right, coming up, we'll continue to talk about the new quarterback for the Colts in Week 18, but let's hit a morning check down. All right, on the hardwood last night down in Houston, it was the Indiana Pacers losing their 9th straight. It was an ugly first couple quarters. Actually, the only competitive nature was really in the fourth quarter when a lot of their subs made a valiant run to try and create it somewhat of a game, but nothing really too crazy on that end. So it was a 9th straight loss. They will now take on the Orlando Magic coming up tomorrow. That is a 3:00 game over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This is the season-long losing streak. I want to say the franchise record is 12 straight losses, and we'll wait and see exactly what the availability looks like for the Pacers. All in all, they're pretty healthy right now. Aaron Nesmith, probably the one bright spot. He did play his second game last night and looked pretty good. So Magic afternoon game tomorrow. Victor Wembanyama on Friday inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Monday Night Football last night. It was the Falcons beating the Rams 27-24. Wild game. Yeah, Bijan Robinson ripping off a, 93-yard touchdown run. You had Matthew Stafford throwing 3 picks. The Rams coming back from 24-3. Jared Verse making just an absurd individual effort in blocking a field goal. But it was the Falcons that got it done there. 51-yarder from Zane Gonzalez. James Boyd, your thoughts on our final Monday night regular season game of the year?
It was a fun one. And I believe the Rams were trying to win that game because they have the Falcons' first-round pick.
Oh, so I totally forgot about that.
You're trying to make them lose so you get a better pick, and it just didn't work out for you. So that was an interesting wrinkle from last night's matchup.
Where's the Colts pick going to be?
That's a good question. Does it matter? You don't have it.
No. It's just more for my general curiosity.
Oh, I thought you were just trying to, pour a little gasoline on the fire.
17, 18, does that sound right? Is that where a team that wins 8 games probably falls in there?
Yeah, because you're out of it, yeah.
Other hoop action from last night, it was the Purdue Boilermakers 41-point victory over Kent State. Very impressive on the defensive end. That's what Purdue, honestly, the calling card over the last couple of weeks has been that for them, holding teams to 60 or fewer. Jack Benter, the sharpshooter from Brownstown Central, outstanding. He has now made 10 straight threes. That is a school record. For the Boilers, they will take on Wisconsin coming up on Saturdays. They restart Big Ten play. Butler restarting Big East play at Creighton tonight. Our coverage will begin right here on The Fan at 8:30. We've hit on it all morning long. Butler right now, they are on the right side of the bubble in a lot of these early bracketologies, but they have a huge next 7 days. Creighton tonight on the road, home to Villanova Saturday, home to St. John's a week from tonight. Right now, those 3 wins would all be in the quad 1 range. So the Big East not very deep this season. Vital for Butler to pad that resume here. We'll see if they can do that over the next week. And shout out to Matthew Graves and the Sycamores. First off, great to see him back on the sidelines last night in that full head coaching capacity role after the heart issue that he had back before the start of the season. And the Sycamores got it done. They beat Belmont in an overtime victory there. So sounds like some great theater for Indiana State and Coach Graves. Outside of that, that probably covers everything on my end. Happy birthday to Tiger Woods, LeBron James, and Greg Rakestraw.
I got one more for you.
And not in that order.
Unless you covered it already, but Reggie Wayne and Adam Vinatieri being finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Did you tune me out?
I didn't tune you out. I just wanted to get there before the break, but shout out to the
Kevin,
birthdays.
I had you the first time. Yeah, I heard you.
Did James tune me out with that?
You ever, obviously the focus is Breeze going to be a first ballot, but James, he did mention Wayne and Vinatieri.
Sorry.
But it's okay. It's okay.
I know James trying to multitask over there.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm sending a couple different texts here, but yeah, sorry about that.
Confirms the reporting. It'll be me and Caleb here for the rest of the day. Marcus,
take on home.
Marcus Freeman.
Well, we gotta get the Mark Dykton buzzer in there. Sorry about that.
Marcus Freeman back to Notre Dame. Is this going to be like an annual thing? Like a Notre Dame fans going to do this every year? Like, what was Marcus Freeman saying no to? The Giants? The NFL?
It's what it sounds like. I mean, I like when these coaches do it, but I also hate it. It's such a recruiting play. Like, I'm not leaving. You want to come play for my school? I'm not going to leave. But I know what James thinks, too. Hey, any way you can get that money up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Any way you can negotiate.
Everything is leverage, man. I tell people all the time, I'm a hired mercenary.
Is there a sport that's more year to year than college football?
No.
Right now?
I don't think so.
And I guess college basketball you could probably throw into that category. But, like, it just seems like it's the most year-to-year of professional, college, anything. I don't like it. I don't at all. I get that it's the reality of where we're at right now, and obviously it's been super advantageous to the program in Bloomington. Does Curt Signetti have great success at IU without all the JMU guys coming there? Who knows? But, I just don't love the year-to-year nature to it. Again, it can help you big time. And Notre Dame's benefited from it. Notre Dame did the transfer portal quarterback a whole lot. CJ Carr is kind of the first one they've settled on. So maybe it's pot kettle black here, but man, it just you need some guardrails. And I'm not even getting into it. I know Matt Painter went on, or he was asked about it last night, but it was a long, long answer about where we're at from a college basketball standpoint right now, and some of these guys that have been draft picks in the NBA on two-way contracts, now going back and playing college basketball. Boy, it's a Texas highway, and we need to get some guardrails. We need to get some speed limit signs on it ASAP. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll continue our sports countdown list, top 10. We got to get back into that before the end of the year, and also more on the Colts and a starting quarterback for Week 18.
Mattress Firm's once-a-year sale and clearance is here. Their sleep experts will help find your dream bed from a quality selection. They make sleep easy.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Mark Patrick hypnosis. Now Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again, my blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings. January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking at 8. Or January 31st, Holiday Inn Express Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits. Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Charmin Ultra Strong. You can use less, better than the rest. Charmin Ultra Strong. Your booty past the clean test. Salmon weave texture, it's the best. Study up, teach a lesson on fresh. Your booty past the clean test. Yes, sir. Charmin Ultra Strong.
Charmin Ultra Strong with diamond weave texture cleans better than the leading one-ply brand, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
If it's happening with the Indianapolis Colts,
they give it to Taylor.
Then it's happening on the Fan.
Jacksonville has the lead for the first time. The first touchdown of the season for Mo Alley Cox, and he made it with one hand. Colts back on top into the end zone, and it is intercepted by Jacksonville. Antonio Johnson ends the game, and the Colts losing skid now 6 games.
Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The official home of the Indy Sports Fan.
All right, we'll continue our countdown of the top 10 sports stories here in the state of Indiana this year. We'll do that here in a few. We got a couple that we need to get to. News here in the last hour from ESPN. It sounds like it will be rookie Riley Leonard coming up week 18 in Houston. Boy, quite the opponent for your first ever start in the NFL, that Houston defense.
Yeah.
And James, they're banged up at corner, but it does sound like they're going to play their guys. And just to remind everybody on Houston's status, they need a Jacksonville loss to Tennessee in order to win the division. Obviously, they need to win themselves. They need both those things to happen. So, it could be one of those weird sequences where, like, if all of a sudden at halftime Jacksonville's up, 3 scores in Nashville, then, maybe they would pump the brakes a little bit there. But at least for the start of the game, Riley Leonard will see as healthy as a number 1 defense in the league. 16 points, I believe, allowed per game.
Yeah. I mean, good luck, honestly. That defense is terrifying. Every time I watch them against the Chargers, and I was thinking, boy, they fly around, and their edge rushers, unlike the Colts edge rushers, they get home.
All right, let's count down our list here. And again, we've taken a little bit, and I apologize because I certainly have not been keeping a consistent up-to-date on it. But these are our top 10 Indiana sports stories of the year. Guys, so far, my order, 10 moving up. Miles McLaughlin at 10. I had Darren DeVries hired at 9. I had Purdue in the Sweet 16 at 8. A shot away from beating Houston and going to the Elite 8 over at Lucas Oil. Number 7 was the Colts' hot start. 6, 5, and 4 for me. 6 was Alex Pillow. Finally getting it done. Oh, look at
I
that.
had to, man. Come on. We got to get that.
That's on me.
Can we try this again? Can you start over? Here we go.
Number 6.
Let it breathe, Kevin. Come on. Hand raised. Caleb Zuber, my fault on that. Alex Pillow, one of the most dominant IndyCar seasons, frankly, we've ever seen. He had that path a lot earlier than we're used to here in recent Indy 500s and getting by Marcus Ericsson. Of course, we had all the chaos that ensued of, who was eligible, who was not. But I had Pillow 6. Number 5, I had Notre Dame's run to the national championship. If you're going with the calendar year, you had Notre Dame's win over Georgia, technically, in 2025. And then you had Notre Dame's Orange Bowl win, also, of course, in 2025 over Penn State. So Notre Dame making it to the national title was 5. And then I had the Fever at 4. You think about everything that transpired this season for them. Just think about the drama, James. Remember the DeWanna Bonner situation?
Yeah, that was crazy.
All that. Obviously, Caitlin Clark's health. Kelsey Mitchell had the very weird injury there in Game 5 of the semifinal round there. So 6, 5, and 4 for me. Pillow, Notre Dame, and then the Fever. What do you got, Caleb Zuber?
Yeah, for my number, unless you want me to run through just quickly what I had John Halliburton versus Giannis at 10. I had, Chris Ballard.
So good.
And
I think that should be number 1 now that I think about it.
Should be higher. Yeah, you're right. Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen returning at number 9, which is kind of ironic. Maybe getting a little start on the 2026 list there. Penske cheating scandal number 8. WNBA All-Star Game being in Indy number 7. And number 6, I have the Sauce Gardner trade. Number 5, Phillip Rivers on retiring. And then at number 4, Anthony Richardson being benched and Daniel Jones starting. Kind of just that whole offseason for that number 4 one. It was just very, just reading into, passing charts in the middle of July at training camp. Just kind of a crazy time. So I have that.
Yeah, you could definitely splice out some of the Colts stuff. I tried to keep it a little bit more kind of statewide and sprinkle in, going all the way back to January. But typical Colts fashion, you could make your own top 10 list just of those stories. James, what do you got?
Yeah, so to run through it, I think Braylon Mullins and Luke Ertl at number 10 going at it in the sectional championship. Number 9, I had the state championship of the was it Jeffersonville? I believe they knocked off Fishers. Right. That was a crazy game over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. That was awesome. And then I went to, I believe, the Fever at number 7. Probably ranked them a little too low, to be honest with you. And then I pivoted to JT's crazy run or crazy game over in Berlin. And that to me was, pretty enticing and just crazy how that all unfolded. And then number 6, I had Notre Dame finishing as the national championship runner-up. I thought that was honestly a little more cosmetic than I thought it would be, Kevin, to be honest, in that game. Shout out to Riley Leonard, now a Indianapolis Colt. And then at number, I guess it's a more personal, personal list, but number 5, Alex Pillow, going to my first 500, seeing him win it. That was crazy. It was a weird day to start off that day. If you remember, Kevin, it was a lot of it was kind of slick, kind of cool. People were crashing out.
Yeah, Scott
literally.
McLaughlin had that crash.
Yeah,
on
that was crazy, but I enjoyed my first 500. And then maybe I'm ranking this too low, but I think the top 3 are pretty solidified by one other player in Indianapolis or Indiana for that matter, which I'm sure you can guess who that is. But number 4, Omar Cooper Jr., the crazy catch against Penn State.
I thought I haven't seen the official list, but I think SportsCenter had that really high up on their top plays of the year. Period. The Omar Cooper catch.
But then I think about Halliburton, and I'm like, well,
I know.
Do I make that one moment, or do I make that every moment?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
I'm a little torn here on the top 3. We'll give that coming up tomorrow.
I do have one other one outside of the Halliburton moments that he had in my top 3.
Shout out to Mark Dykton for the Mark Sanchez story cracking his top 10.
I'll leave that as an honorable mention on mine.
Thought that was.
I don't know. That should be dishonorable mention, actually.
Excellent. One thing I'm curious about now that it looks like the Leonard news is coming out of him starting on Sunday. How much do we see Saturday Riley Leonard? How much do we see Sunday Riley Leonard? And James, you just brought up Notre Dame's run to the national title. For anybody that watched Notre Dame play football last season, they were a run-centric football team with Riley Leonard's legs being a huge part of that. You go back to the game in Jacksonville, the Colts weren't maybe as run-centric with Leonard when he got in the game. Sometimes you see this, like Green Bay with Malik Willis, I think is a bit of an example of it. When you turn to your backup, some of these teams, it's almost a totally different playbook of like, hey, this is what our guy does best. If you are trying to put Riley Leonard in the most advantageous situations, I think you do treat him coming up on Sunday like the college quarterback he was. But if you're trying to grow him as a passer and you don't necessarily care about the result of the game, then maybe you do open him up a little bit more as a passer. It probably won't look pretty, but that's where he needs growth, is as a pocket passer in the NFL. So given the Colts have lost 6 straight, I have a feeling they'll opt a little bit more for Riley as the runner. And, obviously you're trying to achieve a balance of both of that, but I am curious what that playbook looks like for him coming up on Sunday.
I'm with you on that, mainly because you do want to give him that experience, but you don't want to obviously have him go out there and just not really gain much from it. Now, I can hear people arguing, well, what he's going to gain from one game in a meaningless year. Point being, you would ideally want him to play a style of football that would be something that's conducive to how he would actually play moving forward, not just getting out there for the sake of it.
And that's where I think we get back to like these rep debates, with Anthony Richardson in the preseason and previous years of like, it's just so important that when you do put those players in the game that need some growth as a passer, that you just throw it. Like, we know Richardson's a great runner. I know Riley Leonard can be an effective player with his legs in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, his growth has got to come as a passer. So how do you achieve that? Because, I am kind of reminded about this. You think back to last season, James, and remember the Colts won the season finale, the meaningless game with Jacksonville, the overtime win over Mac Jones. And do you remember kind of the jubilation in that locker room? And Jim Irsay's comments in that locker room?
Yeah.
Do you think if the Colts win on Sunday, we see something similar?
Nah, no way. No way.
What do you think of the post-game locker room on Sunday? I saw Greg Doyle from the Star. I thought it was a hair or two on the content side, if I could put some words in Greg's mouth. Thought it was a little bit too
I did think
upbeat.
that there were a couple of moments where I thought some players should have just read the room better. And even if that isn't how you feel and you're not all doom and gloom, if we're in there with cameras and mics and stuff, you probably should tone it down a bit when it comes to, I don't know, talking about things other than getting embarrassed again and blowing another 10-point lead in a game. Just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and honestly, more of just like the playoff elimination that just happened.
Yeah.
Obviously you
But
lost.
I also wonder if part of that, the reason why they reacted like that, was because they knew going into the game they were already eliminated. So it takes out the sting because you're going out there to play a game and be a professional, but there isn't anything at stake for a do-or-die nature of you getting into the postseason.
All right, we'll do it one final time here. Fan morning show on a Tuesday.
Welcome to Wawa. We're open 24/7, so when the sun goes down but everyone's still up, Wawa has your late night fuel. Headed to a hangout? Stop in for snacks and sodas. Binge your favorite shows with burgers and hoagies. Gather around the table with garlic knots and a cheesy Wawa pizza. Or just chill on the couch with fries and whatever milkshake sounds good. Your night just got a whole lot tastier. Freshly made burgers, pizza, and so much more. When you got a late night craving, you got a Wawa. Price and participation may vary by store.
When I decided to do something about my thinning hair, I knew I had to pick the right team, and that was We Grow Hair Indy. If you want the best results, you go where the pros go. That is We Grow Hair Indy. They are the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration. Located northwest side, that would be the Pyramids, building number 2, and a free evaluation awaits. You contact them today. It's WeGrowHairIndy.com or call 317-522-2995. Again, that's WeGrowHairIndy.com, 317-522-2995.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. just super fast, reliable gig speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
With Wawa's Rewards program, you can rack up points on the items you buy every day, even fuel. Boost your totals with a breakfast sizzly. Score points with your morning coffee. With Wawa Rewards, points put the power in your hands. You can choose to redeem them for what you love most, like an iced latte for an extra pick-me-up or your lunchtime hoagie. Download the Wawa app today. When you gotta get rewarded, you gotta Wawa. Fuel rewards not available in New Jersey or were legally prohibited. See full details at wawarewards.com. Price and participation may vary by store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone,
Welcome to AutoZone.
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets a Duralast battery.
Have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-211-8833. 800-211-8833. That's 800-211-8833.
The fan cares, and if you or someone you care about needs food assistance, we have resources for you, including food distribution locations with an interactive map. Also, learn how you can make a difference for friends and neighbors in need, all at 1075thefan.com.
The Colts wind up the regular season with the Houston Texans. Coverage Sunday morning at 10 on 97.1 Hank FM.
Yeah. You know how we do it. West side, coming from the west side. We hitting on the west side.
Rick Carlisle tomorrow, coming up right around this time. Sounds like we'll have him matinee game. I know it's a game that a lot of families enjoy going to tomorrow for the Pacers. Pacers and Magic tomorrow, 3 o'clock. They'll try to end a 9-game losing streak. Got to go back to December 8th. The last time we have had a Colts win or a Pacers win. The day after the game in Jacksonville, James, to put a little bit more context around that, the Pacers beat the Sacramento Kings. I remember nothing about that game.
Well, here's one for you. They haven't won a game since December 8th. No, I'm joking. It is remarkable that it has been almost to the new year, 2026, Kevin, that has happened. And, let's hope in the new year I can pay attention during the show. But in all seriousness, it is, to me, kind of crazy that actually someone threw out there, like, this is really bad vibes for both teams in the city. Someone had the audacity to ask, which team will win first, the Pacers or the Colts? And I'm like, well, I would hope it's the Pacers because they get more chances at this within the next couple of months or so. But it's bleak.
Is IU going to win more games?
That's a better question.
In this span than the Pacers and the Colts.
I mean, it's been a couple weeks now, but James, remember we got the question in from the listener of, I think this was like just before Thanksgiving. The question was, who will win more games the rest of the year inside of Lucas Oil Stadium, the Colts or IU football? And the answer was IU football.
Boy.
Quite the compliment to Kurt Signetti. How about Kurt Signetti, the NFL? People are going to talk about Marcus Freeman, the NFL. Why not Signetti?
I don't know. Why not? You know me, Caleb. I can hear the dollars, the dollar sign. Can you get an extension on top of the extension? Can you get a raise on top of the raise? Let me talk to Signetti and get his people set up right.
By the way, Kevin, Purdue could win a game inside Lucas Oil Stadium.
Boy, Lord have mercy.
Purdue basketball could win.
They might win 2 games inside Lucas Oil Stadium.
This bit is getting worse. This is not good.
Report here in the last hour. It'll be Riley Leonard coming up from ESPN Week 18. against
the second coming of Tom Brady, by the way.
The Houston
Sixth-round pick.
Texans.
Fellow sixth-round pick.
His only extended action so far this season, meaningful snaps, was in Jacksonville. I thought he looked okay in that game. I want to get too blown away with it. We've had this debate, James, over the last couple of weeks. Leonard, should he be getting more of the action? I do feel like I would have rather seen Leonard than Rivers, especially if you can remove yourself from the movie angle to it. I think in the end, would the Colts still be 0-3 in these last 3 games? Probably. Do I think it would have looked a little bit more volatile? Certainly. I think you would have had some higher highs from Leonard, but also some lower lows. And I think that's a question for Sunday. Like right now, this Colts offense over the last 3 weeks has done nothing from a potency standpoint. The ability to truly create chunk plays has been really vanished from this offense for the better part of the last 12 quarters. But, and I know Rivers has had a few turnovers, but, for the most part, they've protected the ball, decently well.
Yeah.
That obviously could be two ends of the spectrum coming up on Sunday. Maybe Leonard is able to Houdini his way into a couple chunk plays, but also is there a strip sack or two against the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL? Is there, multiple interceptions in a game, something we didn't see from Rivers?
And to your point, you're still playing with the offensive line that's a little bit different than what you came into the year with. We'll see if Tanner Bortolini can clear concussion protocol and end his season playing rather than watching. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to hear from everyone, I think, tomorrow, Kevin. Not that it's super riveting and newsworthy. I think a lot of that will come when we talk to eventually Carl Orsay Gordon and the general manager, Chris Ballard, assuming he's still around to talk about the franchise. But tomorrow I think will be interesting just because I do want to hear the perspective of Riley, the perspective of Phillip, and really Shane. Because, again, you kind of didn't really explain much yesterday regarding the QB decision other than saying you would talk to Phil. And, ultimately it is your decision. And I wonder if that talk was just telling him, hey, this is what we're going to do.
We probably should note on the Sauce Gardner front, it took a few questions. I think you might have asked one of them, James, where Shane finally got to the point where he admitted for Sauce Gardner to play in Week 18, he's got to be really good to go. Like he stressed the really aspect to it. The Colts are saying just tightness in the calf of why Sauce exited there early in the third quarter. I think there's a lot of PTSD on the brain when I say this, but I don't think I need to see Sauce Gardner on the field Sunday.
I think it's dumb to even entertain the idea. If you were tight last Sunday, what's going to stop you from being tight this upcoming Sunday? And given that you've only practiced one time before jumping into a game over the last month or so, it's not worth the risk. And when I look at Sauce Gardner now, I know he's a good player, has been a great player in this league, but part of me is looking at him like you're also 2 first-round picks in the flesh. I'm not going to play you in a Week 18 game when you're worth that much to the franchise.
I guess we just pivot to that now, right? Now will Sauce Gardner play? That's the next thing. I'm with you, James. And again, Achilles injuries in this town. Got to be careful with it. Calf strains, all of it. I'm antsy about that and interested to hear what Shane has to say.
I get the trade package is what it was, but I don't give two whats about Week 18 of a meaningless game to see Sauce Gardner out there.
Mm-mm.
Okay, the first half of this year, the first element of the trade didn't work out. Injuries were a massive reason why it did not work out. Move on to 2026. I mean, that's kind of where you're at. And guys, Sauce Gardner is going to be one of the more critical players to this team next year, bar none. I know that's probably an obvious statement to make, but you've got Justin Wally coming off a torn ACL, the rookie third-round pick. We'll see about Javarius Ward's situation, where he's at just from a mental standpoint. And, I didn't think Kenny Moore II maybe had the best season or was the best fit in this Lou Anarumo defense. So, yeah, Sauce's presence, it goes without saying given the trade, but, boy, he's going to be huge. Huge for you next year.
Absolutely, which is, again, do not sacrifice next year for next week when it means absolutely nothing. And I will say credit to Phillip Rivers. I got a lot of great feedback from the story I wrote the other day on him and his last start in the NFL and kind of this sentiment of everything we do matters. Although that resonated a lot, but at the same time, I'll change that matters to past tense. It mattered. Now that you've had your swan song, let's exit stage right and get to the new stuff.
You think he's the backup on Sunday?
I don't, actually. I don't see the point in that. Bring in Seth, not start him, but put him on the active roster. let Phillip hold the clipboard, and that'd be that.
You imagine someone listening in the car, who the hell is Seth?
Seth Hennigan, man. Former Memphis Star. Not to be confused with the Grizzlies.
Threw 100 touchdowns in his collegiate career at Memphis. Undrafted free agent, was with Jacksonville in the offseason. I don't think he's dressed for a game this year.
No, I don't believe so.
I think spent a brief period on their practice squad, but he did work out for the team a few weeks ago. When they ended up signing Phillip Rivers, he was signed to the practice squad yesterday. So, again, we went over this with Joe Erickson a little bit ago. 4 quarterbacks left for the Colts. I assume Anthony Richardson won't be cleared due to his vision. And then Phillip Rivers, I mean, I don't know. Does he show up on the sidelines? Is he doing that? Is he there to support? Or does the wife say, hey, I need you back?
Nah, the wife says you get one more week with the boys, and then you get a lifetime with our boys and girls, for that matter.
Do you respect Phillip Rivers 2 months later if he took a lie detector test and said, guys, I'll be honest, I just needed a break from the 10 kids?
No, I would not respect him. You had 10 kids. It's your choice. Wow. I mean, I don't want to get into the
Trust
whole...
me, the act of having the kid is a little different than
That's
the responsibility
true, but I don't want to get into the
goes...
whole process of the decisions you make when you decide to have a kid. I mean, shout out to people in my life who I know, might have had a slip up or two, but 10, come on now. You love kids, clearly. I'm not buying that. We talked about this in the media room, Kevin. I am not buying the whole, he wanted to get away from his family. He chose to have that huge family.
Quickly, I was going back through some old Chris Ballard audio in his post-season presser last year, and one of the questions that James asked, Chris actually responded to James with a question. Is like, you got kids, James? I think we're talking about Anthony Richardson. Yeah. And the whole press room laughed. Everybody knows James doesn't like kids, man.
Also was not a great answer either. I asked him why nothing got through to Anthony before he got benched, and he said, well, when you have kids, and I'm like, he is not a kid. He has a kid himself.
That was Ballard can look,
not ideal.
He can sound pretty impressive in those post-season press conferences, but yeah, that wasn't one of the finer moments. Butler Creighton tonight, 8:30. Our coverage will begin. Rick Carlisle join us tomorrow. We'll recap it all, preview Indiana and the Rose Bowl. See everybody tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. right here on The Fan.
If it's happening with the Indianapolis Colts,
they give it to Taylor.
Then it's happening on The Fan.
Jacksonville has the lead for the first time. The first touchdown of the season for Mo Alley Cox, and he made it with one hand. Colts back on top into the end zone, and it is intercepted by Jacksonville. Antonio Johnson ends the game, and the Colts losing skid now 6 games.
Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The official home of the Indy Sports Fan.
Heat and cool your man cave, attic, garage, or bonus room without adding ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits.
To find out more, just go to